Omni, would you mind, while I'm sharing this with everybody, to just sort of take the mic and walk around and have everybody introduce themselves and say just what their coin is? Now, anything about their coin. And if you haven't been here before, then tell us all about yourself. Omni?
All right, so we had the guy with the Dash sunglasses speaking before, so I apologize for interrupting you last time, sir. Can you please continue where you left off?
Well, is that going to, no worries, but it's not Dash sunglasses. These are actually Digibyte sunglasses.
Digibytes. Apologies, I'm not great on all the different logos. I will admit that.
It's close, but well, hello everyone. I'm Dave. I go by Blind Dave to raise awareness for my condition and the different things that I wish to do within blockchain for the disabled. And I began in crypto in 2014, but was there in the forums in 2011 because back then we didn't know if we were going to jail tomorrow. My project, I'm very well versed in Digibyte. However, I do recall the, back in 2014 era when Dash and Digibyte were created. That we were searching for a different solution, a different theory into how do we fix Bitcoin or how do we fix the vulnerabilities of Bitcoin. So for me, it's just a different theory of blockchain innovation.
Do you mind going into how your token happened to fix some of the vulnerabilities in Bitcoin a little bit more?
Which one, Dash or
Digibyte? Yeah, both.
Okay. So with Dash, instead of it just being SHA-256 with 10-minute blocks of Bitcoin, Dash then created a different version. Back then it was split between, I know it's changed a little bit now, but you have master nodes, which is 1,000 Dash to run a master node. Then you also had the miners. I think today the master nodes get 60% of the block rewards, which are 2.5 minutes, similar to Litecoin. So it's actually a fork of Litecoin and Bitcoin in that aspect. So then you also have, what is it, like 20% that goes to the miners for the block rewards under X11, which is a total different hash altogether. By 11 different things coming together for a completely different algorithm. And then the last 20% is to go towards like funding different projects or innovations within Dash.
That's dope. Do you know any of the projects that are funded through Dash?
I don't.
That'd be a cool metric to know. I'm not gonna lie, sir.
Well, I know that there are different things like you have instant pay, which I don't know the inner workings of. I haven't dove that deep in quite a while, which is like roughly 1 to 2 seconds for instant pay. And what else? So as far as a privacy feature, that's really interesting, where say your wallet address goes into a pool and it's like a mixer, which was a concern for a lot of different exchanges and whatnot, and why they delisted Dash off of many because of the privacy concerns. But now that others are doing it, like Litecoin has MWeb, that sort of stuff, where it prevents others from being able to tell exactly where it came from. So it mixes it up and then sends it.
Yep.
So that's the privacy aspect of it.
That's some good privacy aspect. All right. Do you know anything about the more at a protocol level around the privacy features of it, how it anonymizes the data for the regular retail user and whatnot?
I thought I'd just explain that just a little, touched on it. as
Okay.
far as it mixing together. So that way the addresses are mixed in. So that way it makes it an anonymous transaction.
Okay. Um. Oh.
And I can also speak to Digibyte's behalf on how I feel that, or how I, not how I feel, how Digibyte has also, in the same year in 2014, was created and has solved the vulnerabilities of Bitcoin.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead, sir. I'm looking
Yeah,
to hear as much as I can.
well, with Digibyte, the blocks are every 15 seconds,
Faster.
not 10 minutes. Yes, much faster blocks. Um, so, and then with 5 different mining algorithms, instead of just SHA-256, you have SHA-256, scrypt. You also have Skyne, AutoCrypt, and Qubit. Now, the cool thing is that say one is ever corrupted, say like SHA-256 is ever corrupted due to quantum computing, you can then remove SHA-256 and then implement another. And it will still run on 4 algorithms while replacing that with another, like say ProgPow or RandomX or Vertcoin just actually introduced a proposal, Digibyte improvement proposal, to add as possible a 6 algorithm. I found that really interesting, so I wanted to hear a little more about that, where that's going, but also to merge mine. So my question there for the Vert gentleman is, will Vertcoin actually be merged mine now with Digibyte if this is approved and through the improvement proposal voting and all of that once the code is released and gone over? But back to what I was saying, other things that I think where Digibyte solved the vulnerabilities were the real-time difficulty adjustment. There's a 2-week difficulty adjustment, within Bitcoin. However, it's real-time difficulty adjustment that was introduced, and that's actually what fixed over a dozen other blockchains, Doge included, Bitcoin Cash, many during the hash wars, many others. So, when when Bitcoin slows down again, like it did in 2017 due to congestion, then what happens? If you tie up the mempool for such a long period of time, it could be, I mean, I remember days waiting on a Bitcoin transaction to go through.
Yeah, and that's just not acceptable in finances, especially if you're trying to pay for something rather quickly. Um, okay. Can we have the person on the left of you speak? I don't know your name, sir, with the Dash t-shirt.
Let me unmute myself.
Yeah.
Hi, Eric. Go by Age of Doge often. I've been. I kind of went over my history last time, but briefly, I got into Bitcoin about 2011, and then once it became kind of unusable for commerce, which is what I was really interested in doing with it,
Mm-hmm.
I started looking for a coin that solved the problems, that could scale cheaply and effectively, and I think perhaps most importantly had a solution to what I perceived as the real underlying problem in Bitcoin during the block size war, and that's just that mining only governance models
Yes.
just aren't good enough to
Yes.
resolve these conflicts in the way that they need to. The fork with BTC and BCH was way messier than it should have been. It was really unclear where people actually stood. There was no obvious way for
Mm-hmm.
the holders and users of the coin, the people that really matter, to be able to be heard or polled in any way. And as a result, nobody knew what was going to happen. It's just a bunch of people yelling on Reddit. And
That's how it always devolves too.
I think the result of that has been pretty awful. It resulted in a quick, unorganized fork that there's still problems from today, and it could still happen again because the consensus mechanism hasn't improved, and there's still contentious issues in Bitcoin, and it's still unclear how they might be resolved. So I think it's really important to have a well-developed consensus mechanism, and
I absolutely agree with that, sir.
because I want to put effort into onboarding people onto a network that actually can sustain itself indefinitely into the future. I put a lot of effort into onboarding people to Bitcoin, only to find that it's not really useful to them anymore after not too long after I did that. So I wanted to make sure that we had a system we could get on that could actually scale and that could deal with consensus issues. So that's how I got started in Dash.
Dope. Very dope. So do you do any developing of your own, or are you just like a hodler yourself?
I'm a user.
You're a user. Okay.
I mostly live off of Dash. Between the Dash Spend app and tools
cool.
like Spritz Finance, I both personally and my business are almost entirely funded on Dash.
That's
I
cool.
accept it on my web store. What I want
Shout out.
is to never never have to
We're all wearing his swag here
my
today.
swag.
Yeah. Good.
Nice. Good job, guys.
That's good swag. I'm not gonna lie. The shirts are sharp.
They are.
Yeah, I lost where I was there, but yeah, I want to never have to use a bank and credit card again. I want to be able to manage and control my own money and not have to deal with that. I've experienced a lot of credit cards getting frozen for random nonsense reasons, things, paperwork and bureaucracy you have to deal with, calling into a person to get your card unlocked when you need to actually use it, bank fees. It's just the cost of fraud and paperwork and bureaucracy in our financial system is extreme, and it makes
Billions of
wastes an enormous amount of productive capacity of people, and it costs us all a lot of money. It raises the cost of goods and services for everybody.
Absolutely.
It's entirely avoidable with Dash and other cryptocurrencies that are a push payment instead of a pull payment.
No, very well said, sir. I couldn't agree more. If more systems were set up in that sense and utilized where multiple different coins were used in that sense, I think it would work a lot better for the general public and on average.
Yeah.
Sir, below you to the left, I don't know your name. Joel, maybe?
Yes. Hey, how's it
Okay.
going?
How's it going, sir?
I'm doing great, thanks. My name is Joel, and I do a lot of business development and marketing for Dash. And I've been in the crypto space since around 2012, 2013.
Wow.
In the Dash community, kind of since 2016 or so. And since 2016, is when I closed my bank account to live completely off of crypto.
Amazing.
Dash is like 95% of that, so I'm coming up on a decade I'm over
Impressive.
this December is a decade since I stopped earning fiat, but since next summer would be a decade since with no bank, and a little few months after that would be when I started using mostly Dash, and when Bitcoin started to kind of crap out there. So Eric
Financial
and
sovereignty, my friend, impressive.
yes, Eric and I share a lot of like crossover with that kind of stuff and compare a lot of notes because we're kind of doing a lot of the same things. And so I'm kind of like everywhere right now on shows, podcasts, whatever, just doing full-time whatever I can to advance the adoption of digital currency, specifically Dash. And I have a podcast on the side that I do and do the whole micro KOL thing, as it were. But I'm always very happy to be here. I've been kind of like a very distant fan of Digibyte for many years. I knew what's his name, Josiah, from back in the day, and he's been on my show a bunch of times, and I kind of I have a lot of positive thoughts on Digibyte. It's very kind of like it's very much of a sibling to Dash in a lot of ways in terms of like a lot of the same types of problems were approached, a lot of similar types of things. And so definitely something that, and as far as I'm aware, two of the more prominent projects that are doing a ton of like AI agent level leveraged coding and stuff. I've seen Jared tape
That's dope. Yeah, that's
those
dope.
kinds of things up, and the Dash community the Dash developers have been a little less like publicly shouting that stuff, but have been doing the same thing. So I was just
That's good
when
to
I
hear.
saw
Good to hear.
it, it's like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. Oh, when I
He's
saw
got it. Yeah. All right. Over to the right. I think there's someone like me that doesn't have a cam as well, or is it just the last
Yeah.
on the right?
There's
Harley,
some
do you wanna
people
talk?
that are, there are also people here that I think are on audio only besides you. I think there is someone named Rev and One Time also. And so if we could give them a shout out.
Yeah. Rev and One Time. If you guys are around, welcome to speak in.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
yes, I can.
So
Hey,
yeah,
One
I go
Time.
by One Time, and I've been in the Dash community since 2014, and I can see that most of these guys were like in the after party. We were for like 12 hours. We were all talking on Friday in the after party, so we all talk about Dash a lot, and so these guys are kind of my friends. And yeah, if so, I'm sorry I kind of missed a lot of this because I was trying to scramble to share this new link because we had technical problems. But yeah, I'm here just on audio, so good to talk to you guys.
All right. Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir. Rev, you around, bro?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rev, just a traveler. I've been in the Vertcoin community since 2019 when it changed algorithms to make sure it stayed decentralized with strictly GPU mineable. And that was really my first introduction into cryptocurrency. I wanted something that I could mine at home, like Bitcoin originally was. I stuck with that, and since then, I've been able to mine Litecoin a little bit, and I've dabbled in other cryptocurrencies. But I'm glad to be here, spreading the good word of crypto.
Right on.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, and sir, on the very end of my screen, I'm with the Sharp Dash shirt.
Thanks. I go
H
by
bomb.
yeah, I go by Hawaii. I got into Dash in late 2016. I've served in a few capacities for the network. Currently, I'm a Dash Discord mod and some memes, and I love doing that. So I'm also kind of the steward for the after party that we have after Joel's podcast.
Cool.
What time is that? Can you tell us about that?
It's pretty loose, but it's like around 6 p.m. on Friday Eastern.
6 p.m. Friday Eastern. Nice.
And what's it entail
Yeah.
normally? Is it just
Basically, we discuss anything Dash and crypto related as well. What's going on this week? It's very loose. And
okay?
Yeah, it's just and you guys are welcome as well.
All right.
We have someone named Hannibal here, also from the team that can't. I just wanted to tell them. That's why I pardon my interruption. They will need to connect their mic/cam before, and I'm not expecting your cam, but if you can connect your mic, Hannibal, we'd like to hear from you too. Sorry.
That's okay.
And then I think there's someone else in there.
Yeah, so you want me to just quickly feel, but so I got into Dash for the governance, instance and the focus on merchants. I was in e-commerce for 10 plus years till I sold it. So I got to appreciate the merchant side and saw the value of having cryptocurrency, and in this case, Dash. And then also during the small block, big block, war and all that. I just heard a lot of things while I was in Dash. I heard a lot of things about miners. Kind of, they are the governance in some ways, and I just thought that was insane. So, and it's turned out to not work. If you look at any of these decision proposals that the Dash network has had, and when it would affect the miners, they would be reached out to. They really didn't participate. They did concern themselves with profits. They're a valuable part of the network.
Mm-hmm.
However, to say that they actually have any part in governance, that's not really the role that's actually turned out. Fact, it's not the fact.
That's different way of governance than I'm used to, but that's an interesting form of it. So tell me about the history a bit more of Dash, because you guys all seem very well versed in it, and Digibyte as well.
And Hannibal is also now here in backstage.
Okay, Hannibal, your turn then.
Hannibal, I don't think. Try that now, Hannibal. You have to unmute. You have to unmute your mic, Hannibal. All right. Well,
are you guys mixing me up with Hannibal? Is that possible?
it says Hannibal Husifer.
All right, he's actually he's here right now.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
I don't know. I want to make sure you guys can see me too.
Okay.
Yeah, I see you.
All right, cool.
I just want to make sure everyone's had a chance to introduce themselves. And again, I want to apologize.
I think he's the last guy to go, but yeah.
Yeah. As soon as Hannibal goes, I want to start the podcast. And thanks for everybody introducing.
Yeah, here, I'm going to just hand him the mic because he's actually
Perfect.
next to me.
Oh,
Here.
perfect. Howdy.
Hannibal, why don't
Perfect.
you
That
just
works great.
speak on the mic?
Yeah, that does work nicely. Good to be in the same room with your teammate. I don't even know what that's like.
Yeah.
Hi guys, how you doing? This is Hannibal.
Hey, Hannibal. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Yeah, I'm sitting on the couch next to him. We're trying to get our audio stuff worked out right now, but I think I'm down off stage down the audience right now with my phone.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, guys, welcome everybody, and we're back to 364 people. There were literally like climbing towards 500 people before I completely screwed the pooch and shut the wrong browser. Sorry, guys. Really
It
sorry.
happens, man.
Oh man. Well, there's mine. And today, when I was driving this morning over just to get some soda at the store, I had this feeling like something bad was going to happen today and I was going to get in a car accident. And I kept feeling it. And I pulled into this place and the car just backed right into me. Right into me. You know, so today's my day. Things happen in twos. So I'm going to be really careful the rest of the day, right? They happen in threes, rather. So I've had my two. Guys, welcome. And welcome to the guest today that we have. This is going to be the first time that we have, but it's going to happen every day now. For every single day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, we're going to meet with 3 coin teams out of 15 that we like. We're not looking at Bitcoin anymore. We dropped Ethereum. We brought in 3 new ones that we like, and we're going to talk about those. But what we're going to do is there will be one coin that each has its day. Like Dash has Mondays. That's Dash's day. Bitcoin Cash has Tuesdays. That's its day. Bells has Wednesdays. That's its day. Zcash did so great. They're over like 5,500 views now. Friday's their day. Thursday will be Stellar Lumens and Ripple and Cardano. And so we're going to now shuffle around here these 15 so that by the end of a month or two, or it might take 6, I haven't done the math, every single coin community the ones on top will have shuffled through and met every other community. And in this way, we have this united front of users that learn about these 15 OG coins and why they should matter in their portfolio, but also because this portfolio keeps up with the spending, keeps up with their spending power that's being bitten down by inflation, spending pressure or inflationary pressures. So now imagine, this is how I want to think of Dash. This is how I want to think of Digibyte. First of all, I think they're undervalued, and we'll talk about that. But when I think of Digibyte, Dash, Litecoin, Doge Bells, if I think of Vertcoin, I want to think of it as, first of all, I can spend it as money. And this is money, and the merchant will take it as money. And we're using all the point of sale apps already in place with APIs that we all create a digital, I should say an industry standard around, so that all the apps and everything are created so that it already fits at any place you go to just as easily as Apple Pay. Now, when we have all these people come together like this, we can have industry standards, because instead of each creating in a silo, we're now all creating towards an industry standard that we, as a self-regulating organization, do we have to report to the SEC, CFTC? Well, where it applies, but other than that, we have an exemption because we're a self-regulating organization like FINRA. So as a self-regulating organization now, we have tremendous power to create industry standards. Now, can you go at it with a stick and make people do it? No, you can't, of course. But what you can do, and we've learned this over the last 2 weeks of these podcasts hanging out here, is that you can offer a carrot. And if you offer a carrot, let's see what comes. You know, and I posted that chart, if anyone goes to a Digital Gold Talk, just a groundswell of excitement around this the last 2 weeks. You just see, we just keep getting bigger and bigger podcasts every week. And so with this one, I expect really great because everyone's coming together again. But you see, that shows strength in numbers, but also interest in no fluff, apples to apples comparison, real value, crypto fair value that we can all look at and understand. But I want you to be able to thinking of it as keeping up with inflation now. Because if my Dash and that are becoming scarcer, or my Digibyte is becoming scarcer as people lock them away for DigiDollars or whatever happens, you're keeping up with inflation. You shouldn't think of crypto anymore as a speculative sport of gambling. That's for gamblers. We should think of it as peer-to-peer electronic money that we're going to be able to spend anywhere we go. And if we want the price to go up to keep up with inflation, we as a community need to do things like plug in desktop wallets, right? Make the network more powerful, right? Do merged mining with Script. Anybody that's got Script, why aren't you all merge mining with Doge, Litecoin, and Bells? Why not? Everybody that can. If you do these things, everybody becomes stronger together. I have heard people say, oh, there's no alt season. Well, why would there be? Everyone that went into it last year got rugged because what really was the value that anyone was giving? They were giving charts based on emotion, based on FOMO and FUD from years past, and saying, if you draw the line here and you look at this, and the last time we were here and it looked like this, we went like this, and therefore it's going to do it again, and this time it'll be even higher because draw a chart like this. Well, of course that's nonsense. And everyone that went into that nonsense got rugged in 21 because they saw it in 17 and they're like, oh, euphoria 21, but it's not made it back yet. And people are saying there's no alt season. And these podcasts that you see, they're all the same. It's going to moon, it's going to do this. When I go into these groups, I have to almost mute the groups because all I hear from all these people is it's going to moon, it's going to moon, it's going to moon, it's going to do this, look at the price, it's going to pump, look at this, pump, 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 pump. And that is nauseous. But if you look at the chart that I posted at Digital Gold Talk of the volume of traffic, I also posted the age. And we've lost the 18 to 24-year-olds pretty much, 28-year-olds. No, sorry, 18 to 28-year-olds, I think. We've lost them. They're gone. They don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear about value. But this is specifically important because, guys, the ones that are going to bring all of these coins, all of your coins, to the crypto fair value, what's going to bring that about is the boomers. They've got all the money. They've got trillions of dollars. And they're interested in crypto now for the first time. So if we can teach them fair value, and if we all keep saying the same word, crypto fair value, and we all start measuring ourselves against there, and we set up exchanges and marketplaces like Nintendo and things where we can trade these, then it becomes money. And as we want the money to keep up with inflation, all we have to do is we know the ingredients, grow adoption through utility. Or just if you already have utility, and it works, don't break it, and everyone loves it, and you're good where you are, whatever, it's electricity, great. Then just more customer service and support and marketing and advertising. Keep growing your adoption, keep growing your transactions, transaction value, keep growing your developer ecosystem so that utility will be up, but also security. Keep growing your network by having a network power score, by having more and more people plug in, be miners. Why would they mine? Because the price keeps going up and there's scarcity because people are, so if we work together, we all want that. All of us want that, and we can still have our own season, but I'm not going to call it the alt season because alt means that Bitcoin was digital gold and everything else is an alternative. So what I would say is that Bitcoin was the first digital gold, but what we need now is a digital gold season. And the way I see that, I envision that is just the same way that this podcast has grown, is that all of you guys help share this and share the message. And first of all, understand it by going to at Digital Gold Talk. You can click on the very first pinned post and it explains crypto fair value and how it's laid out. So I've looked at Dash. I've shared this with you guys. It's worth around $4,800 a coin. Litecoin's worth about $3,000 a coin. It's true. Digibyte's worth about $335, and with that DigiDollar, I could see it being worth $35 a coin soon, right? Because adoption, again, driven adoption. Stellar Lumens, I believe, is going to pass Ripple because they burned the coins in 2017 and inflation matters. And Ripple keeps inflating their coins. But when we all start to understand this, and then all this digital gold, these OGL1s, proof of work, proof of stake, and combinations thereof, that literally invented this. The whole space, they invented this. I know that everybody's over here doing pump fun, but the fact is that in my mind, there was this, Bitcoin was created after a whole bunch of stuff that came before it. I won't go into, I wrote it in a book. But after that, we do have Litecoin, and we have Bell's Coin and Dogecoin and Digibyte and Dash and Blackcoin. And why do these coins matter? Because they wanted to change things in the Bitcoin code, most of these people, and they were kicked out of the Bitcoin camp. But they were improvements. And so they went over here, including Bitcoin Cash, who we love. And they just wanted to stick more to the, larger block sizes. So the reason you guys are all here today, and the reason you in the audience, the reason we need you to embrace this is because this is our way to have our own digital gold season, which means first come up to crypto fair value and then grow it like an equity market where the value in your wallet, because you're going to spend this now, is determined by the love of the network and the growth of the network built through utility. And we want to help you with all of that. And we're going to have a fund that raises money and does that. We'll talk about that. So I'm going to turn it over, if it's okay with you guys. I would love someone from the Dash community to say, tell us a little bit about what made you guys unique to Bitcoin. That's all I want to know. What made you unique to Bitcoin? Because I want the audience to know you were innovative. What was it? And then Digibyte, I want you to tell us in the beginning, just like the servers. And then I want you just really quick to talk about the DigiDollar, right? And then I want to dedicate a lot of time to Vertcoin. We want to hear your whole story. Okay. And so, whoever at Dash wants to take that and tell us what made you unique from Bitcoin and what sort of has been the evolution that's made you unique today.
Hey,
Floor is
John,
yours.
can I first just ask you, do you have an iPhone or an Android?
I have a Mac and I'm plugged into it at the back of it.
But for a phone, what phone do you use?
Oh, I use an iPhone. Mm-hmm.
An iPhone? Okay. Well, I don't know if you're able to create a username for Dash yet, but I think it'll be soon that you'll be able to.
We'll get you on that for sure.
You can experience the user experience.
I love it. I downloaded a Digibyte wallet and I had people send me 74 Digibyte. It was awesome. Very, very cool. Now I'll get a Dash wallet too. I'm going to get a wallet of every one of you, and whatever software or hardware wallets you guys have that are native.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to go on the whole rant of answering your question?
Before you start, yes, I would love a long rant from you. But guys, we do this, and I'm 10 minutes late because I was a fool at the beginning of it. But we don't do commercials here at this Hangout. But what we do ask is that you give us some love. And there are a few ways you can give us love. The best way you could give us love is click repost and then quote. And you could say, join me in this amazing Hangout, learn the crypto fair value, and hit go. And I would love you. I'll follow you. If you do that, I'll follow you right away and I'll go like your top post. Okay, promise. If you want to throw a comment and ask a question, that's cool too. Throw us some love by hitting that love button. If you guys would do that right now, I'm going to ask you at the top and bottom of every hour, and we're going to grow this to hopefully over 2,000. That's my goal today. That would be setting a record. So let's see what we can do with a share. And now back to Joel. And that included the people on this podcast. Go ahead and, if you can, without dropping off, hit reshare. And if you shared it before, hit unshare and then reshare again, and it'll throw it back into your feed. Joel?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, four of us here are pretty much focused on Dash. So I think Joel will probably be the one to start things off talking about Dash.
Right on.
Yeah, and everyone, if there's anything that I miss that you're like, oh my gosh, this guy, I can't believe he didn't get this thing. Feel free to chime in. What I would say the differentiating factor from Bitcoin, and remember, my personal experience in this is I wanted to live on sound money that no one could censor, and that's why I closed my bank account to live all on Bitcoin. And the only reason I switched that is because I couldn't do that feasibly anymore, and I had to switch to something, and Dash was the only feasible option then. And there's plenty of feasible options today, but nothing is near good enough to tempt me away from Dash. So that's kind of the context of what I'm saying. So the number one thing, and I would just say this, it has to just work. And Bitcoin kind of worked in the beginning. It worked pretty well, but some things such as, zero confirmation became not super reliable. Confirmation times went crazy. Fees went crazy. A bunch of other things hit to where now if you just use Bitcoin, your experience is not guaranteed. You could wait days. You could wait not days. You could pay 10 to 20 cents for a transaction. You could pay 80. A friend paid like $882 for a single Bitcoin transaction one time. That's like, it could be all over the map. Do you have any privacy tools? There's so many different things there. With Dash, it just works. You send, it's settled instantly, and it's just going to be cheap, and it's just going to work. And you don't have to be like, well, let me load on this side channel here. Let me do that. And as far as like the practical application, the community has really prioritized this use as money, whereas a lot of other crypto communities have kind of gotten distracted, which is no judgment. Like, some actually focus on other things that are important and valuable. But for this has been super important. The JustWorks experience is a combination of scaling, which provides like the low fees as well, the instant transaction settlement feature, and the ability to have privacy for your transactions. So you can just use it and it just works. The thing that's kind of hiding behind the kind of hiding a little bit is less obvious of something, but is the number one reason that I got interested in Dash first is the governance mechanism, where Dash is sort of the OG DAO. And
can you expand on that? Sorry, because a lot of people don't know this about Dash, and this is, I think, fascinating.
Yes, and I'm going to try to not be super long on this because decentralized governance is a very involved topic, right? You could go on forever with this.
Sure.
But basically, in Bitcoin, people thought that whoever decides things would be the miners. Like, if there's a change to the protocol, if there isn't a change to the protocol, whoever the most mining power is what decides that. In practice, it was shown that, first of all, polling users was very challenging, and it kind of led to a lot of confusion. And at the end of the day, the miners ended up being passive actors rather than active actors. And because of these unresolved governance issues, Bitcoin is right now going through another, maybe even fork war, but a very, serious internal conflict, not because people have disagreements, they always will, but because there's no way to say who believes what. Who, like, community consensus. Everyone's arguing over it, but that should be able to be kind of that should be able to be established pretty easily. So Dash is a decentralized autonomous organization, the world's oldest, arguably the world's first. Getting into the weeds and the details on that, but basically that means that the network can come. Anyone can participate in the network, right? Anyone can do it. It can come to consensus, meaning it can come to an actual decision on not just which blocks are valid and transactions are valid, but what is the purpose of the network? Where does it go? What does it approve of and not approve of? It can actually come to those definitively, where you can put in a governance proposal and say, I want to ask the question, do we do X or Y? And then you will get a stakeholder vote that is set in stone. And the autonomous part means you don't have to hope outside parties give you donations, give you grants, VC funding, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about that monetary influence as much, because the protocol will fund itself. And the one unique part, because decentralized governance is a lot more popular today than it was in 2015 or so. One thing that's different about Dash, as far as I know, for almost every other protocol, there's a few others that have similar things, is that the decentralized funding is part of every of not every block, but as part of every month. It's consistent throughout the month. There's no big war chest. So a lot of projects that technically have governance also have this giant, like, VC funded pile of money. And so if you vote you try to vote, say, the core developers out. You've tried to say, you get defunded, get out of there. They might say, haha, nice try, but we have all the money. Or they might spend all them, even if it's truly decentralized and you have this big pot of money up front, you can spend all the money over the years until you have no money left. And now you're back in the original point of, we need to go to VC funding. We need to sell out to someone else. We need to take these other influences. And because of Dash's kind of, we don't have the big bucks from being able to have this giant war chest to just spend on splashy things, but because it's consistent through the funding, it keeps us completely, like, I would say, autonomous and decentralized. And so that I would categorize all that
And
kind of
open,
feature talk
and open to the whole world to participate from anywhere.
Yes, absolutely. So anyone can acquire Dash through any means. Anyone can spin up a masternode, start earning rewards, and just vote. And no one can stop them. And so I would sort of categorize those big things. I have to get to the usernames really quick. As of about a year ago, Dash has protocol level usernames and contact lists, so you can actually get a human readable username and friend them on the blockchain to make private payments between yourselves. And if you lose your phone or wallet, restore it. And not only is your username there, but all your contacts and all that stuff is there too.
Cool.
So that's like a just works experience. So
Emphasis
to
on
finish this,
decentralized.
yes, it's not like you're trusting a company or a third party to do this. It's not like, okay, well, all the usernames are still there, but who sent what to which contact? That's all. The contact list is something else, and it's in the wallet data. It's like, no, this is all in the blockchain. So to summarize this big rant into two big pillars, which is what really keeps me involved in this community more than any, is it will just work. You can just use it for what you want. And that's with the instant transactions, the privacy, the scalability, the usability, the usernames, all that it just works. And then the governance and self-funding, the DAO part, is it will always just work. You don't have to worry that, well, it works now, but in a few years, maybe some giant corporation is going to fund a lot of developers to build layer 2 solutions that require the first layer to be throttled and censored, so that now that they have a business model, then all of a sudden things start to spiral out of control, and the coin you loved and relied on for your very life-saving purchases now doesn't work as it used to, as happened to Bitcoin, as happened to Ethereum, for example. That won't happen. So it just works, and it always will just work.
It's brilliant. And you've been living off Dash literally now for how long?
I would say end of 2016. So coming up on 9 years, somewhere around there. I think it was October, because I remember there was a Bitcoin transaction of mine. I think it was late October or so, my Bitcoin transaction that I was using to swap to Dash to get the hell out of that ecosystem was pending for 2 weeks. And I paid like $3-4 of a fee, which is not as high as it's been before, but it's still a relatively juicy fee for 2016. And it just kept on not working. And then it kept on the wallet rebroadcasted every once in a while, and so it accidentally double spent my own transaction. So I had literally a transaction conflict where I had 2 coins in 2 different locations that I didn't even do anything for. It just was an automated thing, and I had to wait weeks for it to resolve. And I actually had some friends at a meetup who were involved with some mining pools and things, and were like, look, send me your transaction details. We'll do something special to get this pushed through, so your grief is over. So yeah, isn't all that to say it's been almost 9 years.
A decade nearly. Wow. Well, and before we go over to Digibyte, I did want to, and Digidollar I want to talk about a little bit, but
Which,
guys
by the way,
have,
Digidollar sounds pretty cool from what I've seen.
oh, wait till you hear. This is really neat. But still on Dash, you guys have a funding mechanism built into Dash, and it is based on the staking rewards that allows you to pay for some things right now. And I say some things because if the price of Dash was at crypto fair value right now, CFV, of almost $5,000, then tell them the difference, what it means to the foundation, or whoever, whatever you call that part of your organization.
Yeah. So the block reward, right? So Dash doesn't have bank accounts, right? There's no people in Dash sometimes do, but Dash itself is just the miners get money, the master nodes and Evo nodes get money, and then the treasury gets money every super block, which comes like a heartbeat in the coin emission every month. And so that's denominated in Dash because if it's decentralized, there might be ways of doing like a stable protocol or whatever that's much more advanced. We'll see. But so the price that's about almost 8,000 Dash a super block, if I remember correctly. I can't remember exactly what.
Wait. I want to get out a calculator. Give me a number here.
7,300.
Say it, one person.
About 7,300 Dash per month is.
And what's the current value of Dash?
23, right? Something like that.
22,
so that means that currently then that would mean you guys are bringing in about 167,900. But guys at home per month, but guys at home, do more math. This is the easiest math. You don't need a calculator for. That means if it goes up to $200, add a zero to that. If it goes up to 3 times that to get to 6,000, it'd be just a little bit ahead of itself there. Multiply that then times 3. And that's what the treasury is getting monthly, right, Joel? And staking rewards then in Dash to spend on
allocation. The allocation that our treasury gives out is evaluated by the people who are staked in Dash, the masternode and EvoNode owners, who are virtuously, deciding based on their large stake. It's in their interest to make good decisions, so they can approve or not approve.
And they also take other people's.
So as opposed to funding.
Could I give you my votes if I wanted to? Could I allocate votes to you if you have a masternode?
Yes, definitely. You can delegate your voting keys to other people, and not give up your coins. You just give the voting keys. Sure.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool. Okay, so guys, again, that's another reason why we want everything at crypto fair value, because if I presume, Joel, that and one time that can go towards development, right? That can go, what can that be spent on? And what is it typically?
So the purpose of this was the thought behind it was to fund development, because that's kind of what development is, the protocol. And so like I could run around and like be like, oh, I'm Mr. Dash person and talk on stage and do all this stuff. But like if I get like funded or defunded for that, that doesn't affect things nearly as much as the code itself, like what people slip into the code. And that's kind of what happened with Bitcoin. So that's, I would say, the primary purpose that was thought of when doing this was to have independent developer funding. And you have a lot of people, it's a big discussion now in a lot of communities such as Bitcoin about this concept of ossification, where basically the idea is the protocol should at some point not change very much, because if you can change it, that's kind of a sign of a centralization vector, that is attack vector if you can change it. And I think that comes from a sort of poverty of decision-making ability. Anyway, all that rant to say, it was mostly, I would say, intended for development, but it can be anything. You can
I think that's the best, because utility drives adoption, and so you have to give love.
And I have to say this: if you can decide what it's for, maybe that's not so decentralized. If the network votes for anything, they vote, we're going to buy like Dash colored toilet seats and distribute them to all hotels, and it could be something ridiculous. If the network votes for it, that's gospel. They get it.
Right. I like that.
And I just say that the power of the DAO, as opposed to the chaos of Bitcoin's governance, the DAO that Dash has is, like I said, virtuously incentivized to adapt to and make changes that are best for the network. And we can always, every month, see how things are and make our own choices and make good choices.
I like it. Guys, it's the top of the hour right now, and at 5 minutes before the hour, people are just about to get out of class and meetings and go to lunch. And what's going to happen is they're going to look at their news feed, and they're going to see what's at the top of their news feed, which is constantly scrolling. So for any of you, don't drop out of this to do it if you're one of us, but if you're one of the people on stage or backstage on audio, or upstage, I should say on stage with audio, please click on the post so it's there, you won't lose it, repost it, and then refresh your page, and then repost it. And for all of you at home, please do the same. And then what that's going to do is it's just going to throw it back into the news feed, top of the hour. Right now it's 2:00 here, but right now it's let's see, 1 o'clock, noon, and 11 for somebody in the United States, and go to Alaska, it's even earlier. So if you can, please, we appreciate it. We're hopefully giving you some education and some entertainment. And if you guys could all give that a shot, that will help us spread the word, and we can entertain more people. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Dash. And if I can, I'm going to move over to Digibyte. And who would like to? Yeah, thanks, Joel. And I know that you were strapped for time. If you have to drop, please feel free. But if you can stick around for conversation, we love your input always. Okay. I'll just say that. So Digibyte, who would like to talk for Digibyte? Dave, or who would like to talk? Dave, you want to take the mic?
Yeah, sure.
And let everybody again know just who we are. He was in charge of social media, I believe, for Digibyte or something like
Well,
that.
no, I was a member of the DigiByte awareness team.
There you
I joined April of 2019, and I stepped away last year. So just for personal reasons, I had Hurricane Ida wipe me out here in New Orleans. I'm rebuilding 2 houses. I mean, I just paid them off. I'm retired because of crypto. So
Thank God.
Right. Thank God, because I would not have been able to survive, especially without any revenue. I haven't had revenue in almost 5 years because of the rental property with tenants and whatnot. And I couldn't have them.
Crypto's kept you going.
Exactly. Well, I took enough profit out, but I had to form a trust, and I wrote history for the disabled by using a trust to hold my assets under the EIN rather than use my social security number.
I think there's a lot of things
therefore,
for blockchain, but can I have you explain DigiDollar specifically, because I think that's the most exciting thing about Digibyte, and I want everyone here to understand what is the DigiDollar, and Dave, what makes it different than every other stable coin, including these algorithmic stable coins like Terra Luna that crashed.
Yeah, well, that was one of my concerns going into it, but I was unaware. And I still haven't done a lot of research into it, but from what I understand and what I grasp of it, you can take your Digibyte and lock that up for it. Basically, take a loan out. You're collateralizing yourself. Okay. So you put that amount in, you can lock that up. You get X amount of DigiDollars for that. Like for, I don't know, I think the example given was for like 3 years. It was roughly a 30 or 33%. So that way I put up, say $300, I receive $100 as a loan, which, after working with 2 attorneys and a CPA, my taxable event there is null, because a loan is not a taxable event, except now they changed the laws to where if you do default on it, then it does become actually a taxable event. So with a lot of these others out there, you can take a loan out on it, default on it, and then they seize your coins, whatever. That is, from my understanding, is not going to be a thing. There's not a way for you to default, but you do have to pay that amount of money back to unlock the Digibyte that you have had. So you can collateralize it, and then you can take that and then search for yield in other places, whether it be treasuries, whatever, for 3 or 4%, just as extra funds, extra money if you want. But the beautiful thing is that you don't incur a taxable event on it, as far as the laws are today. I'll say it that way. Now, how many are? How many are?
I don't hear you anymore.
Oh shoot!
I hear him.
I still hear him.
Everybody, I hear him.
I think
Okay.
Eric, you might be rugging.
But again, I do need to go read through the white paper to be a little more versed.
Okay, so let me throw a couple things out, unless there's someone else at Digibyte that can explain the DigiDollar any better than that.
So I might be able to explain some things on it in a little bit. I'm just reading something real quick to refresh my memory. I think it's based on an over collateralized protocol that I was familiar with. So I just got to make sure I'm not spreading
Sure.
fake news.
So,
before
so since
this.
I'm since I think I understand it, I'm going to take a shot at it. Imagine if you could take a loan from yourself. Imagine if right now you had, and by the way, guys, I'm trying to kick Red Bull, so now I'm going to be advertising for Snapple, I guess. As I understand it, you could take a loan from yourself. Imagine that you have, and let's just, because we look at a dollar amount, because that's the amount that's going to be owed. Let's say that you have $10,000 worth of Digibyte in your wallet right now. I've got a desktop wallet. I just downloaded the beta version or the test version rather, and it works great. It looks beautiful. It has a little button that doesn't work yet for DigiDollars. It's going to be right there though. Imagine right there, you could take a loan against your $10,000, but you're locking it up for a period of time. And I don't mean for like a day. I mean like for months, and it might be years. And it depends on like how you're going to be. You're charged zero interest. It's a loan against to yourself. Now the DigiDollars now are sitting there, and that's now created greater scarcity of Digibyte, which should help, its value in the market. The longer it's staked, the better. The DigiDollar, I think what it is and you can probably correct me here, Joel, but it's the amount of DigiDollar you get to your Digi assets might be based on the length of the term, maybe. But someone can correct me. But just make it really clean. I have a wallet at home, and it has Digibyte in it. I have $10,000 worth of Digibyte in it, let's say. And that $10,000, I need, oh, doggone it. I told you guys, a guy ran into me today. It's a little dent, but it's probably going to have to replace the quarter panel. So it's, and because it's a Maserati, it's probably going to be expensive, right? And that sucks. So I got to use my $10,000 now to fix the Maserati fender. Not true. It did run into me. I'm not going to fix it. I don't give a shit. It's about as deep as my knuckle. Who cares? Okay. And I told the guy, you know what? He's like, I'm so sorry. Here's my insurance. I'm like, brother, for some reason you were supposed to run into me today. Knuckle bump. Be okay. And he's about my age. He appreciated it. Good. Spread love, right? Okay. But now let's say that I wanted to. Let's say I needed to fix that. That was my work car, and people see me and I got to get it fixed. I don't want to sell my Digibyte. Why would I in the world want to sell Digibyte at this price? I know its crypto fair value is like 400 times higher than this right now. I don't want to spend it. I want to stick it away, and hopefully in 3 years when I look at it, then it'll be there. And what am I going to owe for it then? 10 grand. Because what I'm getting is a collateralized loan, let's say, of 10 grand. And I don't know if these numbers are perfect, but this is my understanding, something like this. I now get a loan in DigiDollars of 10 grand, which I can now go and spend like dollars, and on an exchange, trade them even maybe for a tether or whatever, and get US dollars, and I go spend it. Now, my Digibyte I can't touch. As it's going up in price, I still can't touch it because it's locked for a period of time. At the end, when I want it and it's worth 400 times that, I owe 10 grand for it. Okay. And in the meantime, though, I got to spend this without this, because remember, crypto is all about preserving purchasing power. How good did I do, Joel?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good basic overview. Let me just, if you give me 5 more minutes, 3 more minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Dave, I'm just reviewing some
Dave or anybody else Digibyte related. I'm not going to try and guess who's who because I got it wrong on every damn post today. One of those days. Oh, I did get that wrong today several times. I've had my 3 things happen in a day. Car crash, right? Dropped the feed and then shared the wrong feed with people twice that are important, and they probably hate me, and I apologized and said I wouldn't chat with them again for a long time if they would just repost this.
And I'd like to go back. I'd like to go back to something you said earlier before the DigiDollar, though, just to like take a time out.
Oh, please, bro.
So the first thing with like the merge mining of Scrypt, the proposal on that, there might be actually be an issue with legacy coins merge mining. So I haven't dove that deep into it, but there might actually be an issue there of like Litecoin and Digibyte. But however, just like Litecoin, Doge, and Bells can be merge mined, so can Digibyte, Doge, and Bells. But as far as merge mining all of Scrypt, that I haven't I haven't figured that out yet.
I'm not a tech guy. Yar is on the team there over at Bells and Doge and Litecoin and Luke, and they'll be here Wednesday. I'll throw up the question. Or you're welcome to join us and ask the question.
And as far as the Dash Pay, I've looked at it a little bit. I haven't dove deep into it just yet, but I have other questions regarding that. As far as I understand, it's an app that I would use to purchase a gift card. It's not. It's how do I say that? I'm purchasing a gift card and then using it at checkout is my understanding of it. And my next thing is, what is the vulnerability there, like as in a third party or a centralized issue there? Because if I create an app or a website, I have to list my name, my company, everything else tied to that. Or is this going through, what was the other company?
You want me to? I think I could give a pretty good overview since I work with the product team pretty closely building this thing.
Please, because I would also like that for Digibyte, to be able to use my Digibyte on an app where I can actually have real use case of it, in addition to just peer-to-peer, where I can walk into Lowe's and go use it on a gift card. I mean, I think that would be a huge benefit.
Amen.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things. First of all, there's in the Dash Pay wallet, there's a merchant map that just shows all the merchants around the world that accept Dash. There's there's like the gift card version, and then there's the regular version. So anyone can go on the Dash website right now and say, I'm a business, I accept Dash, put me in the map. And then they get their little icon there. So like when I go to get my local coffee and croissants at the local French bakery, they take Dash directly. So that's just wallet to wallet right there. And same thing when I pay for my jiu-jitsu instructor and same reason why.
Well, I'm interested in that as well, because I run iServiceASICs.com as well. So I service ASIC miners, and I only accept crypto of whatever currency, and Dash is one of them that I will accept.
I'll post in the private chat the link to get onto that directory to get in there. But so that's like one part of the map, and then the other part is generally the Dash Spend. You saw it on the screen there for a second. The Dash Spend feature. So there's the gift cards. There's currently, as far as I understand, 2 different providers that are live, depending on the app version, right? That are live right now. So it's 2 different companies that will provision an instant gift card for the exact amount you want, that then you can go and redeem that. And so that means if one of these companies were to go offline or rug, there's another one.
Did you want me to add that to the stage, Joel?
If you want to,
please.
That
Sorry.
just shows.
Yeah. Please, everybody.
That just shows the locations of all these like major retailers you could spend it on in a certain area. And if you see the little yellow icons down there, shows that it's a gift card. If it's a blue Dash logo, that would mean it's like they just take Dash directly. So there's another. We're working on a few other spending tools to kind of package into that. But basically, we're trying to give like the experience where anyone can spend Dash just about anywhere, and it just works, even at merchants that don't accept it directly yet. But me personally, I would love to get the blue icons to outnumber the orange ones, where you start to get more and more people accepting directly. And like, believe it or not, I'm sure you believe how it's a challenging thing to get all the deals done to get into like a point of sale like Square or Clover or these kinds of things. I'm talking to a few right now, and there's a lot of steps to do that, and then to get that data into like a map or something like that. But we're working on all that.
How do you create industry standards for this so that everybody is so? For instance, someone on the call the other day said, and I think you were on that call, Joel, I'm not sure, but they said you take the reader at the store, and you look who makes it, and you contact them, and you say, and that might have been Omni that said it, I'm not sure, but said you then find from there where's the API for that, and then all of us, these 15 OG coins, maybe we could all build for that interface. So just like Apple Pay or anything else, every one of us is accepted that way, right? How do we get there?
Yeah. Well, I guess the question is, first of all, where's the merchant map for Apple Pay? Is there one? As far as I know, there isn't, because it's sort of assumed to be like universal. And it's sort of the same thing with crypto. And the thing about the standards is there are, and this get very deep and very, very business technical pretty quickly. But basically, there's a whole bunch of point of sale device manufacturers to begin with. Then there's software manufacturers, right? Software for just general business purposes. And then some of these can be extensible to have like plugins or support for other things. So for example, let me just give an example of, let's say, Clover, right? I forget who the manufacturers for the Clover hardware, but Clover is the company that packages the hardware and sells the software suite that the merchant uses. Clover has apps, has plugins you can do, and they have like an app store. And in order to get into that app store, you have to have some sort of an approved thing. So then there would be a third party, let's just say BitPay, because everyone knows about BitPay. There would be some company like BitPay that processes crypto transactions and converts them to fiat currency in a bank account specifically, that you'd get a BitPay plugin into the Clover App Store, and then any Clover merchant could just enable that option, or sign up with BitPay. I'm sure there's some extra stuff on the merchant backend. But then when you go to the terminal and then you say, I'd like to pay with crypto. Oh, okay, let me go to the BitPay thing, press that, and it comes up on the screen. And the unfortunate, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but the unfortunate part of this is it requires so much work, because you have to, first of all, there have to be a bunch of these crypto companies that deal with the settlement and and all that. Then you have to get them either as plugins or directly into however many numerous point of sale systems there are out there. And then once you have that, then you have to say enable the option, and then people can pay in crypto. And I have to say, like, this is really hard maybe, but it's also not something the fiat world doesn't have to deal with. I've been using for everything that doesn't take crypto, I've been using these anonymous prepaid digital like Visa cards that I put into my watch, and I do a little tap to pay. Now, first of all, for a merchant to accept that, their hardware and software both have to support NFC payments, as in the tap and pay near field communication. They don't all. It's much more common today, but it's not universal. Then they have to support Google Pay and Apple Pay specifically. Some will just take your bank card if it taps, but some will not take Google Pay or whatever you use for your phone to do that. It's a completely different payment architecture, because when you tap and pay with Google Pay, you're not actually transmitting your card details. You're transmitting a payment token that will do that payment one time, but the actual merchant doesn't have your card details, so they can then charge you again at some point. So they have to support that too. Then beyond that, they have to support mobile Google Pay, as in the watch one, not the phone one. Because I do remember when I first got to using the watch, I could use it everywhere, but Square point of sale systems would only take it from the exact same card, the exact same Google Pay on the phone only, but not the watch. For like the first 6 months I had the watch. Now they got that integrated. So there's so many layers to this in the fiat world. And if with the crypto world, it will be the same thing for mass adoption. The big difference with that is with crypto, anyone can just download a wallet and you can just send directly. So if the system is down, the owner can pull out their phone, just like taking cash and putting it in their pocket. You can just run around the whole system. So that's the uncensorable awesomeness of crypto. That doesn't mean that in the real retail mass scale world, there won't be all these different levels and integrations and things and talks and partnerships and stuff to get through to where we get to where it's universal. But just to summarize that on the map thing, right now we have to have a map that says you can spend your crypto here. within 5 years or so, we probably won't even need a map anymore, because it'll just be like, oh, it's almost everywhere I can spend my crypto. And I'm working for Dash specifically to make sure that Dash is one of those top options that's available.
I love that, Joel. Thank
That's
you.
great.
And,
That's great.
Yeah, thank
yeah,
you.
and I got to ask one question though. Is it, looking at this map and talking about that, how is it that we couldn't, first of all, have a space, for instance, that's just about setting these industry standards and understanding how all of us, all the apps we create for any of our coins, takes all of our coins, helps all of our coins get to this map. But then second, do something like Foursquare, and anyone can answer this. You guys don't feel like I got to call on somebody. Feel like we're like literally like, I show people this, like just pretend like we're chilling down on the beach here. Okay. We're just chilling on the beach. We're drinking some coconut
be nice.
water. Yeah. You know, and we're just chilling. And we're just hanging out, and anybody that wants to talk can talk. But my question is, everyone may have heard of Foursquare. And actually, if I can, I'm going to throw this back to Omni, my host, because he's my co-host, guys. He's going to be here with me on every single show. How do we gamify this so that we get mass adoption by having the users who want this in the first place go out and become the mayor of this town by signing up the most, so that there's an app like Joel says that allows people to see who takes crypto right now and what the deals are. Omni, any idea?
Yeah, I got a couple of different ideas in what you could do about that in order to gamify it. There's already a lot of, like you've pointed out, gift card options. So what if you are able to use those gift card monies, whatever, as a form of points that can earn an API or APY over a certain amount of time? And, you know, say for the people with like air miles, or one of the bigger known like point systems that I can think of, like you could get trips done, you could have flights, you could have all sorts of these things. And I know people, older people especially, that are like 50, 60 years old, that have accrued millions of these points. And if they just, you know, earned a certain percentage over a time period on those points, it would allow them to use those points more efficiently. And you could gamify it where you can earn them through your spending habits, essentially. So, like, you know, you go to Starbucks, because I see that as one of the coffee shops on your map there, and you get a large or a venti, whatever it is. I don't go to Starbucks. And you could earn a percentage of those points, which would recursively earn an APY on
If you
your
were
purchases.
if you were given simply a discount, but you could earn a greater discount by referring friends or using the
That'd
crypto
be
or
dope too.
whatever, right? Because then they were going to give you the discount anyway. So let's say the store was willing to give a 10% discount, then you got offer 5 with your card. But if you do X and Y and Z using this crypto this way that starts teaching new habits, you can get 10% off, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Referring friends. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, guys, because what we really have to think about together here is how do we gamify this to take the user base that we do have of 1 or 2 million out of 500 gamblers, and first of all, go after that low hanging fruit. They already know about crypto. So how do we do that? How do we go after them? Okay, guys, this has been great. Thank you, Dash and Digibyte. I wanted to move on to our very patient guest who I want to talk to. And guys, we're going to put a pin in it is all, right?
Excuse me, just a moment. I'll be right back.
Yep, you bet, Dave. We're not like saying that's a done conversation. It is the start of a conversation that we're going to touch on with all 15 coins this week. And then we're going to keep thinking about until as a group, maybe we can come to some ideas of standards that we can build towards. Because if we're all building in silos and it's just whoever can force their way into the most big box stores or something.
Exactly. And that's not,
then we all
good for
lose
the
for
market,
sure
yeah.
because we don't
Not
have
good
the
for the
money Bitcoin does, right? Okay. So we're on with Vertcoin, and Vertcoin is an OG coin, and it has some really interesting attributes, you know, and it seems to have a really decent community as well. That's very excited about their coin. Unfortunately, that coin has been stuck in the the FOMO FUD charts of history, that once it starts going down like this, then the only charts are here are just little blips inside of those little spirals. So what I'd love to know, because I think there's more value, but for me to try and understand value, first I have to understand things like adoption, transactions, which it doesn't seem to be any transactions on exchanges really, like 10 grand a day. That's okay. I love Blackcoin. I'm going to be repping Blackcoin tomorrow, and I love Blackcoin. It has like $35 a day in transactions. Got to start somewhere. Okay. But I'm trying to dust these things off like it's a vintage Ferrari that somehow got stuck in a barn and it's covered in dust, but we brought it out, we've cleaned it up, and we want to start the engine and make this thing scream. So tell me about Vertcoin.
All right, that was the last analogy. You were on point. Firstly, we look at Bitcoin, and Bitcoin set some laws, and those laws they set have made them commodities, right? So Bitcoin has been labeled a commodity. It's been labeled money in countries, and Litecoin just recently got labeled a commodity as well. And Litecoin had history to become Litecoin, right? So, there's a story to Vertcoin, and that's what I'm gonna tell you today is Bitcoin came out and then Litecoin came out because these peer-to-peer transactions, for having a commodity that's acting like gold, it's hard to do peer-to-peer. And when you get into gold, you have to spend a lot of money to get into gold and to get out of gold. And it's a great store of value though. And then Litecoin came out, acting a lot like silver, being a quarter to the dollar and doing a transaction in 56 seconds instead of 7. And now we got a commodity that we're able to change a little bit easier, and be there to be less congestion and more easily store of value. So that the community agreed upon a change. The community agreed upon a change and they called it a fork. And, politically in the space, that was agreed upon change. And in order to keep all of the laws of Bitcoin, which was, no ICO, no pre-mine, no treasury, and fair distribution, right? And
How is it fair? How is it fair?
Because you have someone, so in a true decentralized Satoshi vision, you would have an individual with a computer, like a gaming individual, mining the coin with their GPU, in which allows everybody access. And Vertcoin had this revolutionary one-click miner. So if you go on vertcoin.org and you click mine, boom, your GPU hooks up to it, it goes into a pool, and if one pool has more hash power than the other pool, it's going to favor the other pools in algorithm to keep it fair. So the mining is super fair, and it's still fair. Unlike Bitcoin right now, you have Fortune 500 companies like Mara and Riot that have all of these ASIC miners. And then you have people in Nigeria, for instance, which we have a huge community there too. And they get to have access to the actual circulation coming in, and they get to contribute to the infrastructure, but they could never afford an ASIC miner. Like I have an AMD Raspberry Pi that I hooked up to the Vertcoin one-click miner. So it's very decentralized. It has, its price issue, but if you trace what I'm trying to say, and that's Satoshi's vision, it went, no ICO, no pre-mine, all of these laws. And then Litecoin was a fork, and then the ASIC miners flooded the network, and that's when Vertcoin forked in order to keep the mining true and decentralized. So basically, it's the last fork to Satoshi's vision. And what happened is in 2014, other coins, Ethereum, I'm a big fan of DigiByte. In fact, like it's actually probably like my like top 6 for sure. And I'll get to the merge proposal. Proof of Work Strategy is the one who submitted it, and that's a company that specializes in these King's Law coins. There's only 5 of them that follow the laws that I'm saying right now. No ICO, no pre-mine, no treasury, open ledger so that you could keep it fair. It's only Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Vertcoin, then Ravencoin in 2018. So, like I said, Ethereum came out, ICOs came out, and the exchanges were already listing these other coins, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin. So they already got the listing. And then with the ICO coins and the pre-mines, they were able to pay for listing fees. But when you have a coin that was started super fair and investors are in there just trading and not investing in infrastructure, you get squeezed out. But now we're watching institutions label these things, and now we're able to wrap these things in the stock market. Like Michael Saylor did a great job of taking, if we really want to know why the ETF didn't go up, he took existing circulation, he wrapped it in the stock market, and the stock market doesn't have any say of the price. It's the DeFi market that has the say. So when you're looking at, how the SEC is labeling certain things, the SEC has nothing to do with Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Dogecoin. And as soon as Vertcoin goes to court, it'll have nothing to do with that either, because it's protected the laws of Bitcoin. So yeah, this is definitely a Ferrari that has been being fed the wrong gas for a long period of time. And you're watching a capitulated chain that, if you have to argue it, it's going to fall into the commodity class of Bitcoin. Now, like I said, I'm a huge fan of these other chains, and they're actually like real decentralized solutions for financial movement, right? But I think we got to look at these other coins like Vertcoin and Ravencoin and Litecoin. We're not comparing them. We're different. The community's not holding Vertcoin for peer-to-peer transactions. They're holding it because they actually understand the Satoshi vision and they want fairness. Like, I have people in this community from Nigeria that'll teach financial advisors in, the SEC exactly how to, define a commodity. So yeah, I think Vertcoin's special because there's people all over the world that can contribute with their GPUs. And if you think about how circulation's been put out in capitulation, like this chain has been capitulated, to the pulp, like you said. But now that we're finally starting to get towards like some certainty, right? Like they just launched an ETF with XRP and Dogecoin. And if you don't see the sign and proof of work against, an ICO related coin about ready to see movement with these two, ETFs, I think it's going to be huge. And I think the timing is right. And it's a blessing that, we have smart enough people here to understand what that ICO type of thing does. It centralizes the environment. And then, unfair distribution, or distribution that was unfair at the beginning, right? Like, at least the miners and a lot of these other chains that use like different algorithms, at least they're distributing it, evenly and fair. But these other ICO and hard pre-mined tokens, like there's a difference between tokens and coins. Yeah, so really, I'm here as a rep, not just for Vertcoin, but proof of work strategy, which, Husifer will be in here as well talking about. It's just the coins that are going to start to abide by the regulatory laws of a commodity. And if you bring them to court and you base them on Bitcoin's laws, this is number 4, right? Because 2009 was Bitcoin, Litecoin 2011, Dogecoin 2013, and then Vertcoin was the end of Satoshi's fork. And then Ravencoin came out with some utilities, which are awesome. But we could go into other things. There's a lot of, my personal background. I brought if you saw the ordinals, there was ordinals on Bitcoin. And it was kind of like a protocol for NFTs, which is a great way to market. And that's why Vertcoin's gonna, it's gonna be part of its revival. But the ordinal infrastructure came out and it allowed you to bring on board all of the Web3 people using NFTs, right? So NFTs turn into branding, they turn into free airdrops, it turns into ways to market. Maybe not as much in the financial world, but we got to play the game because, I want to be in the financial world as well with Vertcoin, but we also have to be in the DeFi world too. So, we were in the ordinal infrastructure. We saw the rarities. I don't know if you guys have looked into this, but Bitcoin has rare parts of it. They're
Yep.
called, yeah. So you got alphas and you got uncommons and you got rares and you got epics, right?
Yep.
So I knew that Bitcoin and Litecoin were very similar, so I was around screaming and no one cared. But we invented a lot of infrastructure and launch pads on
Wow.
Litecoin, which was an issue with our wallet. But we ended up developing in a way with the wallet. But we were the first one to actually be able to sift the rare Litecoin, right? So proof of work strategy, has been able to sift rare Litecoin. But we thought that was awesome, and then the wallet being an issue, and us being on Vertcoin, we also are going to put that whole entire infrastructure on Vertcoin. So imagine getting a 7 cent alpha, like getting an alpha for 7 cents, or an uncommon for $2, or which actually be a rare because the difficulty adjustments are adjusted. So, or getting an epic, or having a chance to be involved in knowing this.
I want to pause you right there, and I want you to just write down epic of that. Just hold that in your head, because I want Omni and you to have a conversation. And I want you to explain to me and the rest that don't understand what you just said, epic and rare. I want to know what those are, because guys, remember that there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you ask a question, you might look stupid for a moment. If you don't ask, you remain stupid for life. I don't want to be stupid for life. I'm a student in life. I want to learn. And the really cool thing about this podcast is that you at home get to sit in on these calls with the core people that literally invented the space. And you get to sit in on it like you're just fly on the wall listening to a Zoom call, because these same people sit in Zoom calls and talk like this. But we're trying to make it so that everyone can understand. So I want to come back to you in just a second and do that. But it's the bottom of the hour, guys. We've got over 1,000, almost 1,100. I flubbed the start of this thing, or we'd probably be at $2,000 already. I'm sorry, guys. But right now, everybody at home, and even on this call without dropping off this call, I know that you've heard this before. I'm going to keep saying it because we don't do commercials, and I want to get this to 2,000, and we still have an hour and a half left. So let's get this to 2,000, set a new all-time high live streaming record. How we do this is, if you've made the post already, go click on the post so it's there, unrepost it, refresh the page, repost it again. And now it just throws it back into people's timeline right here at the bottom of the hour. And I'm going to hit you with this 3 more times, top of the hour, bottom, and again, because I really want to get everything we're talking about in front of as many people as we can. Please tell us about the rares, and Omni, can you take this? You know so much more than I do. Are you there?
I want to.
There you go.
I actually don't know too much about ordeals, because it's just something I never really looked into. It's not something I do in my network, honestly, but there might be a case for it in other networks where rarities and epic things have happened and they just haven't been labeled as such. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about how you guys do it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
also,
shut up, bro. You're so smart. Like, that's the other thing, you people at home, like, I want you to repost this, because you're listening to a really, really, really fucking smart guy right now. So listen, okay? Please.
So for instance, ordinals. So I also own a biotech company, and I work in gene therapy, right? And let's say, right, I have a sequence that the body can use, and it can cure something, for instance, and I don't want that data to ever be erased off the internet. So what an ordinal could do is actually put, let's just say, the cure for the C word onto the chain, and it could be indexed at any time, right? And never deleted. It'll be an artifact. So,
Amazing.
it does have real utility, but right now, what the utility that we see is the marketing utility, because people already get dopamine from NFTs, right? So let's just see what's up. And let's just, so now let's go into the rarities and what makes them special. So let's just say you got the first Satoshi out of 100 million Satoshis on Bitcoin, and you were to look at the Satoshi number. The number would have, more than 6 zeros. I want to say it's 9 zeros. So we automatically know that that's
It's like having a
Satoshi's.
dollar bill that's 0.00001.
Boom, exactly. And then putting data on it, and like, or having a collection on it, right? In order to have 10,000 on Bitcoin, can you imagine how much that would cost? Right? So you're looking at millions and millions of dollars in order to find, just to find 10 of them, it's over, $1 million. So then, we saw that, and it was like, dang, these things are $800 each, and it's only a penny of a Satoshi. well, let's look over on Litecoin. So, we did it, and $100 Litecoin, you're paying $100 each one, 1,200 for, an average uncommon, which, it has, if an NFT has value, like this is going to be where at least there's in chain intrinsic value, right?
Big value.
So it's fun. And it's,
Interesting.
yeah, and it's fun, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then we knew Vertcoin was a fork of Litecoin, and then I looked into it really deep, and I'm like, oh man, why am I here like this? This is crazy. Why does no one else see this? But it's
Wow.
just the niche, right? Because I'm in this niche, and I'm like, all right, so Vertcoin, this is the difference. All right, so first of all, we get a 7 cent alpha, which a community will help blow up, and we could get they don't have uncommons, they have rarities, only rares, because there's the difficulty adjustments every block. If there was the amount of adjustment adoption Litecoin had, our consensus mechanism and the difficulty adjustments are more advanced. The thing is the adoption and minor adoption and price, but we could do this as a community, and especially if the DeFi market's not moving volume, which is actually really good right now. So in general is when we bring this infrastructure there, they're going to be able to get rares, right? And proof of work strategy wants to actually create a cell phone miner for fair launch, let's just say BRC20s, LTC20s, doing it on the phone off
Mhm.
of all the rules that I've talked about, but now they're contributing, but they're sharing on social media, proof of work, no money put in, but in the cool thing is this wallet that we're creating is when you put your Vertcoin in it, it's automatically going to tell you about the rares. They won't have to adopt crazy infrastructure. Same thing with Vertcoin, Litecoin,
That's the way it should
Dogecoin.
be.
Exactly. It's all, and then we're
Yeah,
going to launch fair tokens, and it'll be launched 100% fair. You see what I'm
epic.
saying? Like I want to bring,
Absolutely
the
epic,
whole
brother.
point is to bring, the fair launch commodity chance to the people all over again once it's defined. And I think Vertcoin being the people's chain, it's the underdog that my company has gone all in. Proof of work strategy, which is owned by the biotech company, complete plan is to do exactly what Michael Saylor did and wrap it on we're going to get a shell company, and then we're going to wrap it in a trust. We're going to put it in a bank trust. If we have to argue the commodity thing, we could go straight to a court case. And there's a lot of strategy being put into it now. It's not the same thing. There's a revival. There's a winning culture that's being built in. And I think you could see it on X. Before we got started to really revive the community, there's maybe one post every 3 days.
Yep.
And now since we don't have a treasury, the strategy has donated a lot of money, like outside funding, to help grassroots movements. So we have a Zeely Quest, and they post their awareness, and the community is actually growing to know exactly what a commodity is in the class. So it's more of a movement, and the whole, there's no founder, there's nothing, it's just us doing this. So yeah, and Rev, he's an OG that spoke, and Hannibal, he's a tech genius. So we got a crazy group of people that are doing this out of their heart. Like I'm a founder with experience plugging into this chain, right? And there's just a lot of opportunity, and it's so new. It's new again. It's like, holy crap. Like you could spend $100 and you could spend $100 and get more than 1,000 coins,
Yeah.
right? And it's valued at a 7 or 20 cent Bitcoin right now. And then, hopefully, because these laws become stone, right? Because, the whole financial system is actually private. So
Yes.
in order
100%.
to protect the money, they're going to look at what's backing it, which is going to be Bitcoin, obviously. We could say strongly, it's most likely going to be a lot of Bitcoin and gold. So the money's going to get protected.
You
And
could
when
do
you,
it with a lot of different assets, and this is what I think people don't really necessarily think about is,
but in history though.
yeah, in history, but in history, there's been more silver than gold,
Yeah,
and
totally.
that is true. So it actually makes better sense mathematically just to use currency as silver or base currency off of silver valuations.
Right. So they gotta. That's why, like, I think Litecoin is the first one in line for that one.
Yeah,
And then
potentially.
Dogecoin. I'm not the. I think Dogecoin was literally a meme joke currency that slipped through because the guy didn't want to work too hard on the economics, and he just cloned the economics without too much, wanting to win, and he accidentally got through it. Right. So.
Hey, man,
Um,
that's the way things work. Memes
I
make
know.
legends.
Well, I remember that the joke of Doge was basically with the infinite supply to be a middle finger to the Federal Reserve,
Right.
being that back then you can create as much money as you want, well, so can we.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that
it's
was a joke
actually
on it.
better inflation. It's better inflation
Right.
than the US, because like the more you have, like let's just say after 100 years, like okay, the inflation was 100%, but
Yep.
now the inflation's only 1% or 10%, you see? So over time it makes sense, but it also leaves huge opportunity. Like, all right, so this is gonna sound crazy, but I've spoke to people at the highest like presidential level about Litecoin, right? And I actually did it this week. So if let's just say and it wasn't this country. Let's just say a country adopts Litecoin and that infrastructure, let's say hydrodynamic energy, right? And they're
That would be dope.
using that infrastructure to mine Litecoin, right? But
Yeah.
as we know, Litecoin and Dogecoin are merged, right?
Yeah.
So that country that adopts Litecoin infrastructure gets Dogecoin at the same time, and because of the circulation the way it is, it gives that country a huge advantage in that particular coin.
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah,
And you could apply that globally to different places where you have hydroelectric infrastructure starting to work with many mineable coins in
yes.
order to facilitate the power needed even to
And then the
run these
countries would
undergrounds and
give
whatnot. Yeah,
grants. Like
yeah,
countries should give grants to give it to them
100% they
for a
should.
20% discount. These are gonna, the countries needs to adopt their coins. They need to know their rules,
Right.
but then they need to reinforce infrastructure. And like there's third world countries, and I don't know if it's officially a third world, it might be that I was talking to, but that could change economics. And
Well, I
then
think there's a lot of third world countries personally that are a lot richer in the market than they would be if you based mineral
right.
resources off of unmined resources, because you would have small countries become trillionaires overnight.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Like imagine if let's just say Nigeria adopt Litecoin and it went from $100 to 25,000 next to Bitcoin.
What
That's
if it?
that's
Yeah,
huge.
there's lots of scenarios where things could like that could played out.
And I think that's why you have the vert coiners, and you have a few people that still believe in that Satoshi vision, and there wasn't very many left after a lot of the capitulation, but you could see the excitement again. And then we're hearing a lot of like political things with crypto and things that are becoming more definite than others, more certain. So I
Hmm.
think the timing's right.
Oh, 100%. We're in the greatest time of our lives to be in cryptocurrency, guys, because we are going to lead the industry in the way that it works.
That's right.
Yes, and I actually hope that the Digibyte thing really goes through. Digibyte's one of my favorites. The only thing, and it's so minuscule. The only thing that didn't put Digibyte into that. Hang on a second, I'm getting feedback. The only thing that didn't put Digibyte into the King's Law category was I think it was a .05 pre-mine, or it was .5. It was something tiny.
Yeah, it was
And
half of 1%.
if they get loose on it, Digibyte will be like definitely one of the main competitors. So it would be like number 6 that I like to look at. I'm not saying
Oh, tough competition. We're
I don't
family
want to
now.
I don't want to be
Right?
prejudiced on coins, right?
Yeah.
I love proof of work coins. I like the coins that didn't have these crazy pre-mines where they're, like tokens, right? So yeah, Digibyte would be one of my favorites. What I like is they had a GPU aspect, so it made it fair from the beginning. And you guys were saying something about the merge mining between Litecoin and you guys. I think that if you were to use and I may be wrong, but I think that let's just say you were to use script, because I believe your algorithm has SHA-256 and script and it has a GPU based one. But if you were to merge the script with Litecoin script and they were to contribute to script, it should work on that particular algorithm. And the Vertcoin, if you were to mine, using your GPU to that particular, you adopt Vert hash, you guys would get, a digibyte or more digibyte than Vertcoin. But yeah, I believe that would work. And also in at the end of this
what is
year,
it
there's
written in
a
if you happen
Vertcoin
to know?
halving. And not saying that's going to create a spike or anything, but what that does is it creates, less inflation. And for the market makers that are involved now, and that's what happens. There's market makers.
Yeah,
The amount of
100%.
money that are being put in daily will end up being less, in which more money that the market makers are putting in, the higher it goes. And right now on Vertcoin, because the market's at a $5 million market cap, $1,000 can make it go up, 5 to 10%. So it has to be done smart. And if not, then you'll see a few days ago, someone put in a whole bunch of money and you got giant spikes, right? So
How much
it's
money was a
the
lot of
market
money?
makers
Was that like
with the
$20?
inflation is going to help. But there is a halving. There's going to be less circulation, and there's a really low amount of circulation in the market. So
Okay.
right now, as people buy, they're going to be the hands that the exchanges are going to have to get it from. And there is only a few main exchanges, and what we see with volume is a lot different than what we think, because there's a lot of different bots in these exchanges. And if you want to know how bots work, I know how they work. They buy and sell at the same exact price, and they don't do anything. And sometimes only $10,000, $20,000 goes into the market, and it makes it look like
Oh, I know.
a
No, we have
billion
these
or a
conversations.
billion went in, even, right? Because it does a lot of volume in one exchange, but then it has to do volume in another exchange and another exchange and another exchange. So the only reason why you see this type of volume on this exchange is because it's all happening at one exchange without arbitrage opportunities, because no one's making money
Really
off of
nice,
10
actually.
Vertcoin, moving them side to side. So what you're seeing is real actual dollar value going in every day, compared to an unpredicted bot network. Like, trust me, every new exchange will
I
have
100% agree with you
that
on that.
integrated. But it's just not mature yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you
No,
guys
you're
hear me?
100% correct
Can you
about
guys hear
that.
me right now?
I can.
Okay, good.
I can.
Let
Not
me-
everyone can.
I don't know if you guys have any questions for me, or if
you
Rev
hear
or
us?
anyone
Can
wants to
you-
jump in.
Can you actually hear us?
But yeah.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
I don't think
hear
he
you,
can
John.
hear
You're a
us.
little quieter now, but we hear you.
Hello.
No, I'm
I
saying
can hear all everybody.
the person speaking that just gave us this on
Answer.
Vert, can he hear us?
I don't think so.
Now I can.
I don't think so.
Thank you. 'Cause
Okay.
We've all been asking you questions and you just talk and talk
Oh
and talk.
shit! I'm
It's
sorry.
totally okay. It's totally okay. It's
No
totally
worries.
okay.
It happens,
That
bro.
was it happens. It's a great thing. I just wanted to cut
No,
in.
no, he went through a lot of the questions I had.
Amazing stuff. I was just writing down questions as I was going here. And so I, for instance, I think this is great. And I'm just wondering, for instance, and again, this is the best thing about this, is that you guys have the novice on the phone here when it comes to the tech stuff behind this. I love the idea of CPU mining. And then this idea that was the original peer-to-peer money idea of Satoshi, is that we'd have these desktop and laptop wallets and it would work. What happens? Can no one with GPU do it, because they'd have to hard fork it? Tell us about how you protect it from just someone with a lot of computing power coming in and just mining all of it, or 51% attacking.
Yeah. So that
Yeah,
would be a good GP or a good question for Hannibal. But what I can say is they put limitations on, let's just say, the GPUs. So let's say the ASIC is running on like 12 gigabyte, like the GPUs run on 8 gigabyte. So the consensus mechanism supports the 8 gigabyte. And then when you go towards 51% attacks, like when you have a network, well, first of all, it's a Ferrari, like you said, and when it's not running correctly, there's issues, but it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. So, what happened before was there was a lot of competition on the GPU network, and they had access to certain areas where they were able to pool a whole bunch of hash power. And there was an adjustment on it. And actually, do you
I was
mind?
going to
if
ask, can you turn it over to Hannibal? Because
Please.
I would love Hannibal to just explain. Okay, and let me just I'm going to throw out some questions and then I'm going to be done with
All right,
questions.
I'm muting myself.
Okay, so here we go. So these are the novice questions of mine that I'm going to look stupid for a minute, but I'm cool with looking stupid. Is it CPU only? Can nobody use GPU and take it all? It's set to 51%. Could they merge mine with these others to keep them from being 51% attacked? Who handles the code right now? Who's like touching the code? Current state of coins in circulation and what is inflation? Is it for spending, or are you guys talking about ordinals now and you want to build that kind of a NFT type thing on top of it? Tell me about those things.
Sure. I think quickly. Can you guys hear me? By the way, this is Hannibal.
Yes.
Cool.
Can you hear us?
Yeah. Let me just tell a quick story, which I think is going to answer all your questions and why I think this is so awesome. Because at first, when Aslan came to me, Daniel, I was so far to crypto, you guys. I had been a head chair of the Hackers DAO. We've done a lot of investments. We did a coin that made like $26 million. I mean, like, it was amazing. We've had quite the run in crypto. But he comes to me and says, Vertcoin. And I'm like, what do you mean, Aslan? I'm like, it's old. I'm kind of aware of what it is. I haven't like gotten a whole lot of details into it. So, and he says it was 51% attacked, but here's the situation, it's fixed. I'm like, what do you mean? So I look into this and you just asked who's been doing it. Lovejoy is the man's name. James Lovejoy. This is wild. So he was one of the head commissioners over at the MIT blockchain club that they had. All right, so this is no just like anybody who just made this chain, you guys. This is MIT specialists.
Wow.
This gets wild. So
Okay.
the whole thing, this guy,
man.
yeah, this is fun. This guy here is a specialist in 51% attacks, how to fix them in an entire process of how this went down. All right, so anyway, not to say that I think this was their project to figure out how to basically block this, but what ended up happening is that multiple ways now have made it so this can never happen again. But let me just tell the story. So somebody, and I've had this discussion with Aslan a couple times, I think this was done maybe by them or maybe even their people, whatever. I'm not making conspiracies, but just to test out how this works, they use like nice hash, which all of us have used for mining, to get a ton of GPUs to try to take over the entire hash rate, right? First of all, we all know you can't do that anymore. It's done in the terms and conditions on nice hash and all the other places you can rent GPUs and stuff like that. So that's not going to happen again. Now, so in consideration, as soon as that happened, what they did was respond by creating a whole new algorithm, their own. These are MIT guys, so this is pretty cool. That makes it so that it is resistant to ASIC, as well as it's not happening again as far as that. They have a bunch of different ways the algorithm works where you can't stack all that kind of GPU power. So all of that's fixed. The algorithm is completely solid now. And like Aslan's been trying to say, it literally is a Lamborghini Ferrari ready to be brought back up and be ramped up. So what it basically needs is just gas, kind of like Dan's been saying, in a community, somebody who kind of puts the hash rate into it and get it pumping. That this thing is really solid. Yeah, and we're really excited to be involved in it. Like you said, there's a foundation right now that's building out ordinals and all kinds of stuff, you guys.
Can it scale?
Absolutely.
So in other words,
this is what I'm trying to explain.
If it's
Absolutely.
done off of laptops and desktops, then unlike Dash or others that have master nodes and really, what are Evo nodes? I mean, there's just like this, and they just focus on payments, and this just focuses to make sure they're never going to fail. Are you guys going to be like on laptops and desktops where you literally need 100% of your people, if possible, to be a node and plug in so this thing works?
So at some point, we all know how hash rates work with investments and stuff, that there will be bigger miners to jump on. So as of right now, it's a volunteer effort, of course. But let me just explain something quickly, if you won't mind. You can do this in the background of playing gaming PCs. So one of the situations is the younger generations don't understand that you can make money via Bitcoin and things like this because they won't get into doing ASICs. What this literally can do with the one-click miners run in the back of their Fortnite and make them Vertcoin while they're sitting there having fun. Just to keep it in perspective here.
That's awesome. I love that.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe this is the part for me to step in because I've been mining Vertcoin with the one-click miner since it forked to the VertHash algorithm. And I have video play of even last night playing Final Fantasy VII Remake Rebirth at 57% power while it's mining Vertcoin with no glitches.
What's the address? Where can people get a miner right now? Is it at vertcoin.org?
Yes, vertcoin.org. It's open source and you can download the wallet.
At home, there's right now 1,400 people watching this. I would just love every one of them to plug in a Vertcoin miner right now. Why not? You're on a desktop laptop. Why not? Take us through it. Download a wallet, right? You just go there, and and it looks like the Bitcoin wallet, right? That's what that looks like. Okay, and Windows, Mac, Linux. I'm going to click Mac. I'm going to say allow. Oh, nice. So you guys got a cert for this. It didn't warn me that it might be malicious. How did you guys get the certificate for that? Normally you need a Dun & Bradstreet and everything to be able to get an Apple approval. Who's doing that?
Well, these are MIT guys, so I'd imagine that they have the proper contacts to get that taken care of.
I don't know if you guys in the audience know how rare that is. Like when typically you download a Bitcoin forked coin, it does not have, because it's just a decentralized community. You don't have an organization with a Dun & Bradstreet rating so that Apple can check and make sure you're all right. And if not, you need to be 3 years in business, but you're a startup. What do you do? And so most coins will tell you warning, and then you have to click OK, and then you have to open security settings, and then you have to find it in security settings, and then you have to say allow or install rather, and you've lost almost everybody. Right. But you guys don't have that. So I'm already impressed. And so I'm downloading it, and everybody at home try and do the same and make it through it. I would love to get you guys 1,000 downloads, but I don't know that many are. I don't think that many are on desktop and laptop. Okay. What else, guys? I asked you about, are you guys focused then on being you're letting people win it and then maybe use it as an in-game coin, or what is Dash has a very clear thing. It's going to be money. DigiByte has a very clear thing. It's going to be money, and maybe the DigiDollar is going to be the lead on that. What is, when you say Vertcoin is going to be used for?
Well, it's only 1 out of 5 that are considered a commodity. So what is a commodity used for?
Well, I would disagree. I would disagree, and politely, I disagree.
All right, well, let's just base it off.
Let's just presume. Let's just presume that anything that is a Bitcoin forked product that may or may not done an ICO because Ethereum did, but is definitely decentralized and has a price that is not fixed, but price discovery is chosen by bid ask, is a commodity. Let's just presume that. So for you guys to say we're rare and therefore we're art, if that's all you are, but I'm hoping to hear something more like, well, we want this coin
where's
used
Satoshi's vision? You know, we're the people's coin. We run the coin.
So money.
People run it.
So you just want money. Like when I go to Home Depot, like Dash, you want me to be able to use
more of like silver, right? Like I'm holding my Bitcoin not to spend it. I'm holding my Bitcoin because institutions are starting to adopt it as a commodity. So I keep buying more of it. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to get loans off of it, right? Like I'm going to get tons of loans.
I was going to say you'd like the DigiDollar idea because you just stake it.
I did like it. I do like it. I do like it.
Okay, so you guys are essentially just like all these other commodities that we're talking about, but the specialty of yours is that people can still do it with a CPU and built by these MIT geniuses. Nobody's going to run it over. You can still earn on a gaming PC.
But still, there's a lot of like other utilities that the people are bringing in, like, you know, the NFT infrastructure, being able to reward founders for bringing community members on. So, you know, we could give founders 10,000 rares because we, you know, like my foundation, not Vertcoin, has them start onboarding people. So yeah, it has that aspect, but it also has other aspects that other people can start to plug in too. I mean, this is just the beginning, you know, going with a one-click cell phone miner that collabs with, you know, Vertcoin, where, you know, you're able to have an altcoin season based on fair launch proof of works again.
All right, let me just go through some quick shots then, and I'm going to just try and figure out your value right here while we're on the phone. And it's going to be a rough one, but I can do it from a couple of numbers. What would you say is the total adoption right now of owners of Vertcoin? And I'm not saying by looking at native wallets or native wallets with non-zero balances or this and that.
It's really good.
Okay, go ahead. How many do you think?
Really, really, really.
And just an average. What do you think it is?
It's probably better than anyone in the world.
Oh, then you would have about 80 million users.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the way that it was launched fairly It was a lot of people contributing to the beginning of the mining crave. So anyone who had a GPU was clicking into this and getting some Vertcoin all the
Right.
time.
So that's not the question though, because I just said non-zero balances or zero balances. So I'm going to be very specific again. I'm not worried about the rares. I don't care about
Oh, it
you're
has
going to
nothing
do
to do with
NFTs or any of that,
Yeah,
because
I'm
that's
talking
all
about
wonderful.
even distribution and
And I don't care about even
different
distribution. I don't care about that. All I want to know is if you had to add up everybody in the world right now that owns a Vertcoin or a part of a Vertcoin, does anybody in this group have any idea in the world if it's 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or 50? No shame in those numbers. But what is the number?
Well, maybe one of the other community members can look it up. Meanwhile,
You won't be able to look it up. You're just going to have to guess based on community
millions.
size you have.
I don't probably a million people. If I don't, I mean, there's
That's hard to
a lot
believe.
of
That's hard to
people.
believe
Don't
though,
forget
because
this was a top 30 coin at one point.
okay. Well, I'll just tell you that Digibyte and Dash work their asses off for 2 million. So I kind of doubt it. No, hold on.
They're all going into the miners' hands.
Okay, hold on. Then how many miners are there if they're all in the miners' hands? Can anybody else on your team answer this question? Because we're going in circles, unfortunately, and I need to get through a bunch of numbers. Is there anyone on your team that has any idea in the world? And I can find it with AI, and I'll go look for it.
It has the most
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It
times.
doesn't matter. You're not listening to the question.
I have a question. Does the website show how many nodes have been downloaded?
Well,
Because
the
that's
one-click
another
miner-
metric.
The one-click miner will go to
Decentralization metric, as you know, if you have a understanding of how decentralization works, more nodes equal more decentralization, meaning a safer network for the average user. Otherwise, it could be all centralized.
Yeah. Well, this chain definitely
Okay.
isn't.
So we're going to have to figure that out. And transactions and transaction value is the next thing. And I'm guessing that your team doesn't know that yet either. That's
And remember,
okay.
we're valued at $5 million. So if you
Do you
were
guys
to
have an
go
Explorer by
transaction
chance,
to-
sir?
Do you have an Explorer?
Yeah, there's Explorers.
Great.
What's it called?
Look, just you're gonna have to. I don't know exactly the .com on my head, but just look it up.
And by the way, guys, I want you guys on the Vertcoin team to know that I don't ask these questions critically like I'm trying to wound you. I'm asking these because hold on. I'm asking these because we're all here to help you. We want to bring a community, our community, 15 coins community. We want to just know that there's somebody that's got their hands on the dev, that really has their hands on the code, that you guys do have a roadmap and a plan, and you know where you're going with it, and you have very clearly defined purpose and direction. And if you have all those and you have a decent community, we can help build the community, which means we're helping build adoption. But is there a team there to build utility? And if you don't have that, that's okay. I like the coin. You had me at hello. I'm trying to help you. So I'm trying to understand, and this is just a Zoom call that people are flies on the wall and they're hearing this. I'm not worried about spoiling your coin price if you give me bad news right now. On the contrary, my friend, I am trying to find out what the bad news is so we can spread it across the table because we want to help you. So I'm going to let you pause for just a moment. And the other two guys on the phone that are from Vertcoin, please enlighten me to just what you do know from what I just asked. And thank you, the last one, for your input. But the other two, I want to give you a chance to answer those questions again, just as much as you know. And it's all good because you don't have any damn value anyway. 5 million is a joke. We have Fartcoin that's worth $1 billion or whatever.
So let me jump in here real quick, gentlemen.
Thank
So
you.
firstly, the next time that you do an interview, it'd be very good to ask those kind of numerical questions. That way the people are prepared for it rather than try and gotcha. But that's fine.
It's not gotcha, bro.
But listen, I'm going to be real with you. I think that we need to take a look rationally at this for a moment. I believe the last time I checked, there were like maybe 500 or 600 full nodes or something that were running at the time that I looked.
Okay.
I don't know. I need to take a good look, honestly, to give you those numbers.
You know
I'm not going to sit here and try to be like, I've got it right
really
now.
great about that? We know that 1% to 2% of people that own the coin. So I can literally extrapolate backwards and multiply that by 100x. And if I do 100x, then you've got 60,000 people. Was that so hard? Was that a fucking gotcha? No, my friend.
No, but I'll tell you what is really interesting about this. Like, I'm going to be real. Listen,
you guys have a $1 billion valuation.
No, that's what I think Aslan was trying to get this across to you. Listen to this situation. This coin is old. It's been plugged into major exchanges, which a lot of coins have a very hard time getting to. It has a massive amount of hash rate to get to where it's at. A lot of money and time and effort have been spent by some really big people that this is on their radar already. And I just want to kind of reiterate that being fixed and on the rise back up, it is a Ferrari or Lamborghini, and it will be able to compete once it gets back to that part. So Yeah, no, all these things and mechanisms exist. This is not just a brand new coin. So I think that's what he was trying to say at that point.
So
Yeah.
everybody calm
Yeah,
down.
no, I'm not
Everybody-
trying to come off
hold on, please.
insulting or anything.
I need to pull rank here for a second. Everybody take a deep breath. One thing that you're going to find about me, which is why most of my family members don't talk to me or hang out with me, is that I say what's on my mind. What I told you was not a gotcha question, and I tried to preface it with all that I could, that I was here to help and that I believe in you. I love your coin, and when you told me what it does and how it can stay safe, and that it was created by MIT, and I saw that it didn't require a cert, which means you guys had the ability to get that, then I just wanted to know how many users. You guys gave me the answer. You didn't even know you had the answer. You had the answer. If you have 50 to 60,000, just like Bell's coin, your current value right now, without any transactions whatsoever, is right around $1 billion. Now, do I think you have the same upside as quickly as Bell's coin? No, because they have Dogecoin as a little brother who's going to pump them, I think. But other than that, do you have upside to $1 trillion? Yeah, if you guys build utility and adoption, which is why the second question was, who's got their hands on the code to build utility and fix things if they break? I am not here to get you. I'm here to help you. Be clear about
All right, excellent. No, listen,
your best friend.
James Lovejoy, my friend, is the one who has all the hands on what needs to be done. And these guys are
He's
very
still
quick.
talking.
If you notice that there's an old chain that even was able to adapt very quickly. Let's say something happened today. These guys would jump right back on and take care of it. That's how it would work.
I love it. And Yar, by the way, over at Bell's Coin is one of the 1%ers, 0.1 percenters. Like he's touching Bell's. And he's working with Luke, who touches the merge mining and that for Litecoin and Doge and that. So we've got some really smart people around to help, is all I'm saying. Really. And we're all in this together. I apologize if I come across blunt or angry. And sometimes when I'm thinking really hard, my face scrunches up. My dad actually slapped me when I was a kid, when I was like 14, because I was thinking really hard about what he was saying in the landing of the stairwell. But he thought I was growling at him or something. And for the first time and only time in his life, he slapped me open hand across the face. And we both cried over it. I have a problem with looking really angry when I think really hard. So I apologize for that. And I'm also very blunt and ask direct questions. And if I don't think I'm getting to them, I get more blunt. So I'm your bro, okay? I'm your family, and I love your coin, okay? So I apologize.
Hey, it's all good. We are all family. And like the other guy, he mentioned jujitsu. I'm a fighter. I'm a wrestler. I'm a national champion wrestler. So I'm here to win.
Nice.
And all you're seeing is just passion for me, you know, believing in what I believe in. There's no animosity. If you ever come to Miami, you and I'll hang out and have an amazing
I'm in
time.
Naples, bro.
Bro, I'm from Naples. Stop.
Get out of here. I'm literally on the beach right here, bro.
I live and that is
Wow.
crazy because I just moved from Naples to Miami 8 months ago. I lived there my whole life.
Bro, come back over this weekend. Let's chill.
Yeah, all right. So we'll do that. Like we'll get that crypto love back. It's just nothing but
The love is
passion. That's
still
all
all
it
here.
is.
And we're all and everyone here, I
Yeah.
believe, is a type A. We're all very
Oh
headstrong
man,
and
you're gonna love it.
focused,
If you
know?
do come to Miami, the network here, you're gonna be like, oh man, I could understand. But I think it's important that we.
I'm
do.
an old man. I'm almost 60. I live on the beach with the old folks.
Well, it's okay. I'm in the biotech world, man. It's all longevity.
Give me some of those long
Peptides.
telomeres. Give me some long telomeres, bro. Really.
Oh, that's what I do. Telomeres and senescent cells.
Do you really? I was just asking about.
Yeah, I have a peptide for it.
What happened to the chick over in Oregon that has injected herself a few times? Is she looking younger? What's her name?
Depends on what she's injecting.
Well, she's been doing telomeres. Well, that's another call. I love you now.
Me
I
too.
love you now because you're going to make me live longer.
I will, and we're gonna put all the protocols on.
Y'all got
on
any more of
chain.
them telomeres?
I do. It's called epitalon. Yeah.
Epitalon. That's fucking amazing. Okay, so now we're friends. You know, I think, and no offense to women, there are no women on this pod, and that's not on purpose. It's
There
just
might
how
be
it
some
worked out.
watching though.
No, I know, but let me just be really clear about this. Women are different than men. Men, when they meet each other, especially if they're jujitsu or kung fu or whatever it is, we like walk down the street looking at people like, who's going to attack me and who's going to hurt me and I'm going to kick their ass. And you're looking around. Women don't. They're like, head in the sky because they got a man next to them that's watching out. But when men get together and they're headstrong, they will fight until they get an answer and then they're best friends. And that doesn't happen with women. That's all I'm saying. I just feel like I just made a brother. Whatever. Right?
Definitely, for sure. My heart's in the right place. You'll see.
All right. So guys, I want to get back to the numbers again if I can.
Yeah.
Okay. So it appears to me that you guys, and of course, there could be that some of those nodes have overlap. It's possible. It's possible. And I would want to get a deeper look. And the beautiful thing is that Omni on the phone is a white hat hacker, and he's amazing. And he could literally help get us to the bottom of those. But my guess is that people could have 2 or 3. So without knowing more, and this is totally ballpark, I'm guessing right now you're somewhere between 300 million and $1 billion based on that starting point. But if you have the love of 15 communities here, I think in total probably have 50 million users, quote unquote, and maybe more, including overlap. And if that's the case, and I'm talking Litecoin and Dogecoin, like a lot of coins, right? Ripple and Stellar Lumens, et cetera, Cardano, et cetera, et cetera. If everyone throws the love everybody's way here, then everyone here should have about 30 million or 40 million users. And all of you will have the value that is half of Bitcoin, or about $1 trillion. That's where we want to go. And then we want so much wealth out there that Bitcoin is now a fraction. And when Bitcoin goes up and down, it has no relevance. Hopefully they're trading now in the CFD and they have to earn it too. Okay. So I really like Vertcoin. And now I'm going to put myself on mute, and I would love Digibyte and Dash to ask Vertcoin questions and back and forth and just see where it goes.
Can I just say that a couple of things that they were talking about Vertcoin, one of the problems, and I think is a flaw in Bitcoin, is the risk of mining centralization and the power that the miners have over Bitcoin, and it's becoming more of a, more apparent with this war that they're having potentially with the knots versus the core. So that's definitely something that will become, more of like less confidence in Bitcoin will become an issue as time goes on. Another thing is just the distribution and fair circulation of the supply of the currency. A lot of the coins that I think have more value than Dash, are pretty questionable and suspect on either pre-mines or manipulation and things. And obviously the centralized exchanges play a big part in that kind of stuff. So these are important issues that Vertcoin was addressing.
Yep, thank you. I agree. I think that's going to give us kind of another advantage in the future.
Can I ask a technical support question? Because we told everybody to download the Vertcoin one-click miner here, so I did that, and I got this, and I'm not really sure what to do. I don't have an antivirus software.
Might be Defender in Windows. Might need to create
I'm on Linux.
exclusion for the.
He's on Linux.
Oh, you're on Linux.
I'm on Linux, and I do not have an antivirus installed.
Yeah, I'd have to take a look at your configuration and see what's up. There are a couple of errors that pop occasionally. If you go to vert.when, I think there's a FAQ that has some of those errors on there that you could check out to see if it's there.
Yeah, vert.when. It has yeah.
And you know what? More usage is going to get through it, guys. I never look at problems as a bad thing. In fact, I actually thank God yesterday when I was out swimming for literally 50 years out of 58 of him kicking my ass since I was the kid on the skateboard wanting to change the world with business somehow and I didn't know where. Okay, a lot of problems and mistakes along the way. I think if I told you today that you were going to reach the most crazy success Vertcoin could have ever imagined with absolute adoption, but you're going to have to fail 17 times before you get there, how quick would you try and fail? So small organizations aren't going to have a QA team for, quality assurance is critical. And that's where we all come in again. This is nothing bad.
Well, the nice thing about small teams is you can actually reach somebody to ask them about the problems. I just figured if a bunch of people downloaded it while we were talking about it, maybe they had the same problem I did.
Yeah. And I have to say on that, it's not just team size. Sometimes you find some very big and important projects or companies, but then you can still get through to someone. And I cold emailed some crypto merchant tool system that'll remain unnamed for now in the last week or so. And it's very big. And I got on the call with a decision maker within a day or two and figured something out so far.
Yeah, but
do you guys know where I can call 1-800-Bitcoin? Is there a place that I can call that?
No,
is there
you gotta tweet,
is there a team for Bitcoin?
You gotta tweet the CEO.
Bro, what is the code? what is Satoshi
At
Nakamoto's
Sailor.
1-800 number?
No, he just told
Please.
you. He said you can reach him at Sailor, the CEO.
Oh, okay, I got
Yeah.
you. I got you.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so Aslan is who the one you have to contact then.
Did you say something about a seed phrase?
I'm not telling you mine. That's what I can tell you.
I'm
Oh,
making a joke
you can
about
go
how
all
like
day?
it's fun with like the small team thing, but this is like a volunteer effort in our community. And you know what? It's pretty neat because it's like Bitcoin at first. I think someone mentioned they were like in the forums back in the day, Bitcoin. Me too. And I think it's really neat how everybody used to go around to like, you know, the Bitcoin conventions, and then they started forming little groups that decided to make little tools. And then Vitalik decided to go off and make his own multi-tool thing that got weird, but whatever. Yeah, and we're still here talking UTXO and doing our thing. But I just think it's rather interesting how all this is based off of Bitcoin, which doesn't have any of the things that a lot of these new chains are acting like is the main thing that you need. And it does really, really well without them. I'm just saying.
Yeah, they could also plug in through the forums. Like there's forums they could plug into and they could start their own node. Like the one-click miner. Yeah, like Vert.win has issues, but the one-click miners just makes it easy. But if you understood how to like, you know, make your own node, you'd go around and do it, you know, other ways.
I'd like to say something, if I may. I meant no disrespect to either of you, gentlemen. For me, it's just another metric that I use. And my thought was possibly for others to be able to download a node, or you just said the one-click miner, because I have extra servers with GPUs that I could point that way. So to go ahead and mine it before it becomes either merge mined or added to Digibyte, or like I said, for other people to go ahead and download a node.
Could it? And I'm too stupid to know, guys. Could it be merge mine? Could we do
Yes,
make away with that with
that's
Doge, Litecoin, and Digibyte and
Cool.
Bellscoin?
Yeah. So with the Digibyte DIP that you know, proof of work strategy submitted, the whole thing would change anyways. Like what would have to happen is the Digibyte and Vertcoin would have to come together, and then the infrastructure would be built with your guys' geniuses, including with our geniuses, and
Amazing.
then the one-click miner. If any issues were there, we would have your geniuses also involved to make it work with yours.
Oh my God, you're making me sweat. Like I am so excited to hear you say that. That like is music.
What
It's a
is
symphony.
your
It's a
code base
symphony.
written in? Just
I
curious.
love it.
There you go. You froze there for a moment.
Oh.
You're good now.
It's
This is core with Vert hash. So it's core just like the rest.
Okay. So look up spacecraft SDK. Because it's one of these SDKs that allows you to write in a lot of different languages that'll allow you guys to get your token more interoperable with a bunch of different things.
Pause for a second. Everybody
Yeah,
at
that's
home,
actually, is that like
pause
wrapping
for just a
it?
second. If you could
No.
pause for just a second. Everybody at home, it's 15 after I missed the top of the hour. There's almost 1,600 of us in here, and I want to hit 2,000. That'll set an all-time record high for a live stream. And I did totally F it up at the beginning, and I'm so sorry, or we'd be there now, I'm sure, because we were at 495 and had to start from fresh, and 700 or something before I killed the video entirely. Everyone at home, right now, please, we're entertaining you, we're educating you. You get to sit down on this like fly on the wall. I want you to hit repost. If you already did, I want you to open that post. I want you to unrepost. Then I want you to refresh it so it gives it back to you fresh at X, and hit repost again. And that's going to put it back into people's timelines that right now it's 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock and it's noon. People are at lunch, and we want them to be able to listen to this amazing and very educational podcast. So please, guys at home, we do not ask for any money. No ads, nothing. We just ask for a little love in the way of a repost. Please go back to the mining.
So can I ask 2 questions about Vertcoin? First, would you consider Vertcoin fungible or not fungible, or a mix of both? And the second question is, so anyone, it seems like, has the access to mine Vertcoin to get some, but what would be the incentive for buyers to want to buy it? Just why would people buy it?
I think when regulations go a little bit more towards, you know, what is a cryptocurrency and the difference between a cryptocurrency and a token, I think it's gonna, so All right, well, let's look at like the whole, you know, vision of why we're on Vertcoin. Let's just say that regulations leans over towards, you know, these ICO coins becoming securities, and the securities exchange having to regulate them, whether it's a token or a security. At the end of the day, they're going to have to KYC these. And with that being said, there's lots of tokens that are not KYC that are on major exchanges. And if major exchanges gets hit by what regulations should have done a long time ago with some of these tokens, you know, they're going to get dropped off exchanges, and the ones that will get reinforced on exchanges will be, you know, proof of works. And even in the future, it's going to be much easier to license exchanges that are offering non-SEC regulated assets. So, you know, overall, Vertcoin, maybe just because of what it is, be able to get the type of exposure that all of the cryptocurrencies that follow some of these laws get as well. So, I think we're leaning towards the fairness. That's
I don't
the real
believe in
utility.
fairness in the world, or you'll get run over, my brother.
Yeah.
I think that the reason that people are going to buy your coin is because it's so incredibly undervalued. Right now, you
Yeah.
have a $5 million market cap,
I agree.
and it's really worth 300 to $1 billion, and I can prove it, and I'll debate people on stage about it, and I'll take on
Mathematics.
I'll fight anybody down to the ground and wrestle them into the mud on that one and beat them. Every single time I'll put them in a chokehold. Why? Because I've got the juice. I've got the formula. You have the numbers. Okay. Now we need to build on that. We need to build it to 1 million users, to 5 to 10 to 20, and that'll come. But we're all going to do this, like this little marketing trick I do where we're all reposting. You guys should be doing that, and you guys should be starting as many other podcasts talking about crypto fair value until everybody is just saying CFV, CFV. When's it going to get to CFV? Diamond hands to CFV, and then you're going to get your 300, 500, $1 billion, and then you're going to have miners. But I think a first step towards that is getting to know the teams around merge mining. So can we go back to that and understand how that could be a next step in your process? Because if you can announce merge mining on your coin and get on some exchanges, I think your coin would get a lot closer to fair value than 5 million right now.
Yeah.
I agree. I think merge mining would be even, you know, one of our head community devs said, his name's no one in there, and he said, you know, the hack would be merge mining. So, you know, you get merge mining, boom, we're ready. You know, our hash rate goes up. Everyone's getting reinforced. Digi's happy. You know, it's kind of like the bridge with Litecoin and Dogecoin. These, you know, Digibyte is a peer-to-peer superstar, right? And it does have the Digi dollar, and it's awesome. And Vertcoin is just going to be another thing that stores value, and hopefully because like what you said, it's undervalued. When they do start valuing you know, the class that I believe in a certain way, I think it'll happen.
Exactly.
So yeah,
exactly. So let them be greedy until it gets there, and then let's let them be able to spend it, is my thinking.
I agree.
Okay, so so Litecoin and Bells and Dogecoin are going to be on with us every Wednesday. And right now on that Wednesday, we've got Luke, who's done the merge mining with Litecoin, Dogecoin, and Bells, and also restarted Bells with Adam McBride, who will be there, and as well as with Yar, who's the super programmer, who will be there. We're going to bring up Vertcoin on that call, and I'm going to make sure that you've got some kind of a contact that you can start talking to make that happen. And
that'd be amazing.
I'm hoping Digibyte can do that too, but that's up to Jared. He's the man. I don't question him.
Yeah. Oh, he's smart. So, you know, I think that he's busy right now. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, I know he is.
I do think it's a great idea for the DeFi space, and we've had nothing but positive responses from the proposal. So, you know, I'm very confident about it, and I think once Vertcoin does a little bit more of a revival and people see how strong our community is, it'll be an advantage for both of us.
Okay, so do you guys know Captain Litecoin? If anyone doesn't know Captain Litecoin, I've posted about him before. If not, you can find him. He's one of the guys I'm following. He's on my core team. He is the huge Litecoin advocate, and he's figured out how to use Google's VO or whatever the heck it's called that allows him to create these hyper realistic animated, it looks like a human, you know, I mean, you can kind of tell, but it's really, really getting close. And he is going to create a story for Dash. He's going to create a story for Digibyte. He's going to create a story for Bells, for you guys, for Vertcoin, and tell why you're special and why you're important. We're going to have another bunch of these that we hope everyone will share and go around, that shows all of us walking around together, like it's a bunch of people walking together, but their face is the coin. but it's going to look so real, right? Or they're wearing they're Superman and they're all pumped up and everything, and on their chest is this coin, right? We want this to spread. We want to have a t-shirt shop where the money that is made there goes back out to the dev teams, but it has all of your original iconic Genesis block coin image and your current.
Yep.
Right.
That would be
and
dope.
just let those be sold cheap ass t-shirts like these that, are going to fall apart. Who cares? But now everyone's wearing your thing around, your swag, and you guys are earning money off it. I'm going to get to the point in a minute where, because we got about 35 minutes left, where I'm going to tell you guys another way that we're going to get you guys money through a fund that we're running. But anybody else have questions for Vertcoin while I just take a little piss break here?
I'm just mind blown. You're in Naples.
I know we're going to.
That's fine.
Omni, can you take the mic?
Yeah, I got this. Okay, so I have a couple of just like nerdy questions. What do you guys do if you get like Sybil attacked?
What is that? Can you define that? I don't follow that term.
So let me just see if I can interpret exactly what you meant. So Vertcoin is a fully proof of work coin, is it?
Okay, so it can't be Sybil attacked in that situation, right?
No,
Yeah.
there's only partially signed transactions, just like Bitcoin,
Okay.
Litecoin. Yep.
Okay. That's interesting, and it makes it that's cool. I just enjoy exploits. So like, there was a mention of a 51 that happened earlier. Could anyone give me a little more details on how that happened to get pulled off or anything on that? Because I'm just a huge exploit nerd.
Yes, go look into it. It's pretty fun, actually. And I was trying to explain that the guys at MIT are specialists in this. So this is almost like it was like their perfect play field to be able to get into it. But essentially, somebody got enough hash rate off of renting GPU miners. So let's just say that you and I want to do this. This is back in the day how you do it. And we rent a shit ton of these things. And we just take over the entire thing. We write out a longer chain. And then we basically force everybody to print that as the chain. And that's how this works, literally that much. And it became a problem enough. I believe there were 600 blocks that were written that were wrong, and I think it was like $100,000 that was lost completely. Ended up being a reorganization and like one fork off of that, but it really wasn't that big of a deal. What it did is it made them kind of like go back and make this hash, like vert hash that they made. And apparently, from what I understand, that this thing is like built out perfectly for the GPU situation, and it makes it so the ASIC stuff is never going to be an issue. So, like I said, they are absolute specialists in what they do. And it was a really cool, unique situation that they got to test their tech and upgrade it from beta, if you will, to what it is now.
And also the block difficulty adjustment. It's there's a difficulty adjustment in every block compared to Litecoin. I believe it's like a quarter to 2 weeks.
So it's every single time a new block is generated, it is a more difficult hash essentially in order to crack it. That's interesting.
Yeah, they've upgraded it. There hasn't been any issues ever since, and it's been a long time with low hash. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been looking at your guys' charts and weird chart, but yeah.
It is a weird chart. It shows the potential in it though a lot.
Yes, it does, and it shows a little bit more than that. It's a cool chart to look at.
It's actually a beautiful chart. We like those charts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the due diligence, like that's where the trophy's at. Is if you're kind of standing on this chain, you definitely did your due diligence, right? You may not be right, or you may be too early, or whatever, but you definitely did your homework to be standing here on a chain screaming where no one else is screaming at the beginning. After 10 years.
Yeah, definitely. No, longevity is huge in this industry because there's so many that just come and go. It's a little bit ridiculous, especially on other networks and whatnot. And I really like what you guys are doing. Do you have any like gamification things that you could do with your coins? Anything that you guys could think of that could potentially make it easier for the general public or a younger group to adopt?
Yeah. So, we're working on some of that software where you would buy it and you could see if you get a rare. That's not the point, but within that,
no.
Yeah, within that, we're trying to set it up where there's like incentives for contributing with your cell phone.
Oh, dope. Yeah, I
yeah.
love cell phone technology, stuff like that.
So if you could get in cell phone incentives, then there's definitely going to be adoption. And even if those cell phone incentives
Do you
are
have a
more,
mobile wallet?
Tell me more about that. Like, are you
Yeah.
talking about like it's a minor, or it's just there's a wallet and you're getting a reward somehow? Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I don't
curious about.
understand why everyone can't download a node on a mobile, because I'm stupid.
It has a lot to do with hash power and the size of your phone, but I mean,
I'll take that real quick if you guys don't mind. All right, so this is
Yeah,
something
go ahead.
that I had to recently into. So I'm intimately connected with the teams that are doing all the stuff that's inside. So I know enough to be dangerous and sit and ask questions like you guys. And I'm over there going, "Hey, so how's the miner work in the phone, bro?" You know what I mean? Because I'm wanting to know all of this. And the
Yeah,
guy's like,
exactly,
"All
me
right, so
too.
check this out." First of all, he goes, "First of all, if I were to build a genuine miner for the phone app, they're not going to let it get into Google Play Store or anything. They have a cap on that. That's why you don't see all those out there." But he goes, "But we
Right.
have a way to kind of disguise this as a reward system that they can
okay,
get in and do this." And what it's going to end up being is something like a proof of social or something. I think they were talking about it being where people are going to have to gamify this by doing and sharing and whatever off of Twitter and stuff like this.
Yeah, that's great.
And that's where they'll get the reward from. But there's
No,
actually
that's
like
great.
work being done. It's pretty cool.
That's great, dude. I'm looking forward to something like that because I think gamified economics are about to take off in a huge sort of way where if you're able to earn for your social interactions, there's going to be a lot more value behind it.
Right, and that's why the beauty of crypto, right? Because it produces a reward from the being able to book that block. The bad thing is when it's just somehow going to be invisible magic money that's going to feed everyone in Africa or something. No, it's not. Like there's more to it, right? Like, so I really love your coin. I really do. Yeah, I want to get to how we're going to fund in that, but I'm not going to stop anybody on the Digibyte or Dash team from participating and asking questions of Vertcoin because I mean, you guys are so smart. That's why you're here. So, do you guys have any questions you'd like to ask of Vert? Because I'd love you guys to chime in.
Again, the fungibility, is it something that you would buy thinking that or you would mine thinking that my coins are now fungible, I have the same value as you have, or are certain ones like collectors coins values, or is there a mix? How does one compare to another?
Okay. Sorry, I missed the question. I was getting a call. If you had one.
No, that's okay. Just how the different tokens are going to be. I'm not going to talk for you, bro.
Oh, how they were valued compared to others when it comes to when you mine them and if they're fungible. So
Right.
yeah, there is CoinX is fungible. So there's some small exchanges that don't have mature APIs, and this is why you don't see lots of volume because you're not able to put market makers in some of these.
Right.
So if you were to go into the main exchange CoinX, that one has a market maker in it, just like every other crypto. How strong is it? It's probably, like as you can see, $10,000 a day can go through it without it, crashing the chart. But that's real volume. So the chain's only bringing in $500 a day right now. Just keep that in mind. Think about that. That's nothing, right? So when the halving happens, that's only $250 a day. So the floor is 10,000. It's like 10 to 40,000 on a good day liquid. So anyone who's mining and getting 6 Vertcoin or something or whatever, yeah, it's pretty liquid. I mean, I would say it's liquid from 6 to 7 cents.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Those are interesting numbers.
Yeah,
Can I ask
ultimately.
you-
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Can I ask you about the security solution to the 51% attack? So is the every block hash rate adjustment, is that what prevents the attack?
No, they actually have an algorithm that they made that makes it so that it can't even be stacked like that the same way. It's broken up now. So the other situation is, from what I understand, is that you can't even do it the same way anyway. So there's multiple things that have made it so it can't happen again. Yeah, you can't rent hash power. Exactly what Aslan
What's
said.
the
That's
chance
exactly what
of getting? What's the chance of getting this gentleman on the phone with us from MIT?
Yeah, I'd love to learn more about that.
That'd be
Pick his brain.
insane. Amazing.
Doug, the thing about it is that all of that stuff you can go read about in detail if you want to. I don't know that they're out doing a lot of promotions anymore.
No,
That's the thing
I'm
about
not
it.
asking.
They have
I'm
a ton
asking
of
as a
different
scientist.
projects that they've worked on since then as well.
No, I just, as a scientist, I would love him to stop by and
but
just ask questions. Let us
yeah,
ask questions.
he's not the easiest person to reach. Like we have, just like Bitcoin has, we have people that are constantly doing the adjustments. Like if let's say that was an issue, they would go to the site and they would fix it. But you know, ever since the 51% attack, what was it, like many years ago? There's been no need to have to do any upgrades on the chain like this because it's not a project. It's already done. Now it's just to keep up with the Bitcoin upgrades.
Can Dash that asked the question weigh in on what he just said?
Well, I was just hoping to understand what the mechanism was that was being used to mitigate the 51% attack.
Well,
Like
but
I
if- right.
understand the change in the policy of the mining rental site, but that's not part of the network. That's just a third party that's preventing their service from being used.
Yeah, the whole consensus mechanism changed from it was a different hash name to vert hash. I can't, you know, I'm not a super tech guy. I'm a jock that got into crypto and just
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not a data or statistics 101 guy. I did get certificates in that, but this is something in the algorithm that they changed, you guys, that makes it so they can actually detect. And it's like you're saying, probably some kind of a adjustment in the way the blocks work and things like this. Yes, and like I said, you can go look that up if you really want to know that stuff. That is some cool things to learn from MIT, I'm sure.
I am a sucker for that kind of stuff.
I love it.
All right. That's an interesting thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Guys, you know, I wanted to throw out here too that as we're sitting here and talking together, and I'm sure that when people first hear that they're going to come out of their silo into the sunshine and just work in the open with other people, I'm sure it's a little bit of shock, like you got pale skin and you're in a basement and sun hits you in the face for the first time. But I promise the vitamin D is good for
I
you.
feel attacked.
I hope you don't really.
Listen, I'm in the northeast. Okay.
Okay. And I'm down here tanning. No. But what I'm saying here is that if we got no more people into crypto, but the 500 million gamblers, if we could convert them into real crypto users, which again is to me the low hanging fruit that we're going after, not going to go after. That's what we're going after, guys. I'll tell you about the fund and how we're going to go after boomers and the guys with the money too, but that's different. They won't actually touch the crypto. The 500 million, I was just doing a little math. If the 15 coins we love each got just an equal 1/15 of the 500 million, you'd each have 33.3 million approximately users, real users in commerce users, the ultimate Joel dream, right? They're really using it. And each one of you would have a valuation of around $1 trillion. 15 trillion right there. So we don't have to be like, no, it's a war and I'm going to sling arrows at you and say your coin isn't as good as my coin and we're all going to fail together. Or we can all just come together and win. We've got the numbers still for a little while, but
it's like,
go ahead.
With the amount of people that just game and whatnot, your GPUs, if you up the amount that certain GPUs are allowed to run, would allow more modern gamers, or even lower it to a spec where even phones can run it. You could have mobile gamers and whatnot start to mine your coin, and it would increase the amount of people that would start to use your token. And if you had a wallet that was interoperable with a bunch of other chains, it would allow you guys to then be able to, touch other networks much quicker and easier.
I'm imagining this gamer who is playing Fortnite or whatever, and they've plugged in this Vert miner, and they're just sitting here playing the game, and it gives them a little notice that they have $10 worth because Vert keeps going up, and then they look at it at the end of the game and it's worth 12, and they're really excited, and they look a month later and it's worth 50, and they're just having fun, and then they trade out of it and go get another game.
Well, this is kind of you guys are bringing up a fun utility. That's what's cool about a room like this is. Like, imagine if there was a game that was sponsored, and you know how all these other games, there's no liquidity for these other games, but by them playing this game, the game's able to pool everyone who's using the Vertcoin miner playing the game and then give rewards. So, that would be a utility that could plug into the gaming network, which it should since we're GPU based.
I mean, my God, you're right. Omni, this is
or
me,
skins for their marketplaces, because like if you think about it, skins and skin marketplaces are some of the hottest growing things globally, and I mean that quite literally. Every
Right.
single game's got a different skin for it, right? If there was a way that players could earn in-game currency to be able to trade it for skins across various different things,
That is
that
badass.
is the potential what could happen.
That is sick. And you already got the market because they're the ones mining.
And
Yeah.
Digibyte can do it with us if they're ready to
A lot
roll.
of tokens can do it with you. Is the thing.
This is how small of a unit that we have to mine. It's an AMD
That's
unit,
amazing.
and we're mining Vertcoin on it. I mean, it's not a lot, but we're contributing.
Could Dash
yeah, you
also
guys
be
are all
earned here?
proof-
Dash, don't keep Dash out of the call. Is Dash also earnable on this game? I mean, you guys have also.
Well, I think
Why
the earning
not?
comes
Like
from
Why
in
not?
reality,
but-
Right, you
could
do have
have
proof
it.
of
You could
work
have it
also.
set. You could have it set as a setting in reality.
But where's
that
the
you can
liquidity
select-
coming? Because
Again,
if
it's
you
the
merge,
exchange. No, it's the exchange. We'll keep the
'cause
price going
I
up,
was
and
saying
people will
that
go
if
sell
you,
it.
but if you merge mined it with Digibyte, because they're using the gaming hash power, it's creating liquidity without having to buy anything.
Oh my god, that's brilliant.
So that's if you do it that way now, even
Well,
though there's
energy
not a
becomes
lot,
the liquidity then. More
right?
so,
There's
like, so the
exactly.
price of energy becomes
So
the
there's
liquidity
not a
then. Yeah.
there's not a lot of people maybe earning, but the game overall gives the top 10 winners like big amounts. But
It depends on the game, because if you think about it like this, like in a round of Call of Duty, right? In a round of, say, Search and Destroy, there's only going to be one top player, and that's the guy who's on the winning team that gets the ace normally. And that's the way I attribute it, is when you start to break it down into different types of games, the rewards almost have to fit the type of game. Where, like, Call of Duty should be having tournament styles where these are given out to people, and like
I agree.
PUBG and all these other games should be doing this already, and they're just behind the ball by a quarter mile, boys.
So who represents and goes and talks to them and gets that deal?
from
It's hard.
Vertcoin,
No. I mean, like, you got to have someone. So you need a Rolodex. You need money for a Rolodex. But like, if there was
So you need a guy you need Hideo Kojima. You need all these guys, like by first name in a Rolodex or on a Discord that you can able to contact and say, hey, you guys
this
are
is
working
what's
on
in
this
it
new
for
game.
you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what's in it for you. Yeah.
Yeah,
How's
I
this
mean,
gonna
really,
improve your game? Right.
it wouldn't hurt them at
User
all to
experience.
just contribute a little bit of the hash power that they're already using in their game to get free rewards.
And I mean, these guys, like, especially with online games that run on servers and stuff, guys,
oh, you could do it with
the amount
gambling
of
games
hashing
all day.
power that are in servers is
Insane.
ridiculous.
Insane. They're getting the fastest, most powerful gaming computers they can, and they're not using all the power.
No, they aren't even using gaming computers. They're using workstations.
Workstations, really.
Workstation GPUs.
Oh yeah, because you know what?
I'm sorry, guys. If I may say something just slightly, I do believe that the Vertcoin community on Discord still does have a Minecraft server that you can use the Vertcoin that you earn just in your everyday life on items in game. So instead of buying the items with US dollars, you can use the Vertcoin you earn to buy items in the shop.
That's a good application just right there. And I'm not gonna lie, if more games did that and you were able to get a way to do that for more games, it would just expand the knowledge of people learning about crypto. And that's what we're here
So
to do at the end of
huge,
the day.
so huge, Omni. Hey guys, we are a quarter to the hour and we haven't hit 2,000 because I fucked everything up on the start and lost 500 viewers in the first 5 minutes. But we got it going after 10. 18:15 we got right now live. Thank you guys out there. We've got 15 minutes left. We've had just an amazing rap session, just chilling with people from Digibyte, Dash, and now the Vert. What would I call it? Tribe, or they've joined us now. They've joined us, and now we're going to help them, and we're all going to work together here towards a digital gold standard benchmark of fair value that I'm going to break in and explain now before we leave. But before I do, everybody at home, please, just one last time today, just give it a like, give it a comment, but more important, give it a share. And if you've already shared, we need to get that back into the timeline of all the people following you. And so you need to unshare it, refresh the page, and then share it again. And if you do that, I think before 15 minutes is up, we're going to try and get it up another 180 people, and we're going to try and break 2,000 all-time high, literally for the first time ever. Okay, so I wanted to say that I believe that there's a way that we can do a lot of things together. Okay, one is if we are a self-regulating organization and we're all truly working together towards industry standards, it's going to attract the state legislatures and the policymakers because they're not experts. And as Senator Marv Hagedorn and I talked about yesterday, and he'll be back every Sunday, and Senator Mark Fincham was over in Germany. He's a current senator in Arizona.
That's a
and
good talk.
It was, right? And it was cool, man, because, you know, like he's passed crypto legislation so that you could have used it as legal tender, crypto in Arizona, but Hobbs vetoed it, but he got it through the House and Senate. You don't know how hard that is. Okay. He, by the way, under Ducey was able to get his species currency bill turned into law, and they literally changed policy for the Treasury so that they couldn't extract tax from you if you bought gold and then sold gold for a profit. That's really just money, species currency. And he got that done. And he was trying, he had another crypto bill, a second one that made it through the House and Senate saying same with crypto. And if you buy and sell, epic.
It would have been epic.
This is our boy. He is our man. This is the crypto senator of Arizona that's going to be the crypto nationwide. So what are we doing? So we're going to go out and we are inviting this Sunday. We will be the first time we invite other senators and House members from the 50 states and 5 territories and any state treasurer who wants to join us so we can talk to them about what is crypto, why does it have any value at all, and what is that value? And that's what we're going to talk to them about. And as we talk to them about this, they're going to start, and we're going to talk about the digidollar, and we really think it could be made into legal tender. Arizona, as Mark Fincham, is going to work with Jared, and we're going to see if we can't create a bill for Digibyte in Arizona to make digidollar the first fiat currency that I should say legal tender for all debts, public and private, which means you could pay your electric bill with it. You could pay your traffic ticket with it. Okay.
That'd be huge.
And they'd have to take it. So when I tell you that Mark Fincham is the current like sitting crypto senator in the nation, and he's here not with like cup is, you know, half full. He's here, the cup's half empty, and I need to know, guys. So he's coming to all of us as a student. Okay. He's not coming here so that, you know, he can teach us anything. He's coming here to learn from us. Now, when you have that behind you, and why would they trust us? Because we're setting standards. We're working together. Now, what else? You need funding, okay? You need to be able to spend things like that. Now, we're going to announce it, but on November 15th, kryptons.com, crypto NS, Kryptons, like Superman, but not with a K, kryptons.com will open. And at Krypton, and I'm a little early here, but I just wanted to throw it out here because we talked about spending. At kryptons.com, it's not going to be Silk Road. We're going to utilize AI to make sure there's no bad stuff being sold on it, but it's going to be a Craigslist for anyone who wants to sell something for some Vert or some, you know, Dash or some DGB. You can sell you. I want to sell you guys this book right here. I'll take right now, you know, 10 DGB or whatever. Okay.
You have no idea how much I wanted this company to be a thing when I had my distillery running.
And it's private, the way commerce is supposed to be. We're just not going to, nothing illegal, guys. Now, imagine also, you can go to this marketplace, obviously. How do you know you're going to get the skateboard, the guitar, whatever? And so all we're creating, and it's legal, and I know the laws around this because, again, I had one of my 48 attorneys on my way through this journey wrote most of the Jobs Act. Specifically, she wrote the area on digital transfer of assets between individuals using P2P technology, where there's not a success fee or a trading fee. Right, but you can have an escrow. And so we're going to have an escrow that prevents spam. It'll be like 50 cents on each side for $1 for round trip. $1 million product doesn't matter. Escrow.com charges a percentage. eBay, they charge a percentage. These things. No. It'll just be because we're doing nothing but making sure money came here. You got the bike. Okay, cool. And maybe we'll have some other stuff in there that they can prove that the bike was in good condition. We'll figure it out.
Pictures.
But imagine or a video of them literally getting a trip. Right. I thought about that. But now think if we have a Craigslist like that, and then think if we also have a storefront like Amazon, so that anybody that already has a current existing storefront can very easily sell all of their stuff and upload it right here for crypto. And they can say what specific cryptos they want, or they can say all 15. right? But whatever they want, they can buy it from you. And now they don't have to change it into fiat if they don't want. They just wanted to sell you their guitar for, 100 dash. Okay. And it's a really nice guitar. And okay. And so that's all that is, right? And so if we have that, that's almost the final step. And the third step, well, four steps. The third step would be an eBay. Why wouldn't we have an eBay so that people can auction their stuff off? And again, for any type of crypto they want. Now we're missing the P2P exchange that just allows you to go into anything, but I'm going to leave that for Yar and smart people that can do wallets. I'm not going to touch it, but we can just do sales. And the first thing we're going to sell are those t-shirts, and the money we make off the t-shirts will go to these 15 communities equally. Okay. So first of all, I want you to know that help's on the way that way. The other thing I want you to know is that we're raising three funds. The first one is 1 billion, and I've already solicited $1 billion fund over there in Miami. David Blumberg, look up Blumberg Capital. Hey, David, he might say no.
I know that guy.
He's cool. David's a really cool guy. I actually have wanted to work with this guy and have tried to work with this guy for like 15 years. So David, this is the one. And I texted him yesterday and said, I need 100 million. You can come here and come to Miami. We need to sit down and talk about this. Give me 2 more weeks to wrap this up with a bow. And wrapping up with a bow is coming back to him going, okay, here we go. And here's the fund. And look, I'm working with all the core teams. And guess what? Hallelujah. They're all working together. It's simpatico. Here we go. I want you to lead with 100 million, but I don't want any more money from any VCs or anything like that. We're going to get it from the boomers who missed out on Bitcoin. We're going to get it from the Gen Xers like me, who are not quite boomer, but we've got all the money with the boomers. We wanted Bitcoin. We don't know how. So we're going to buy Sailor's fund. No. Bad idea. We are going to tokenize this fund and put it on T0, and people can trade it there after a year and a day. Okay. So they can just buy our token, and the first fund will buy $1 billion worth of you guys. No, it'll buy 800 million. Because let me explain to you the VC model. It's called 2 and 20. If you're really excellent, you get 3 and 30, Anderson Horowitz. I don't know if anyone else does. But let's say I'm going to take my money to Bessemer or to Kleiner Perkins or Sequoia or Sandhill Partners or any of those people on Sandhill Road. I'm going to give my money, and it's a minimum like 10 million. I'm going to give $10 million to, let's say to Anderson Horowitz. Okay. And they're going to take 2%, well, in their case, 3, but so pretend it's 2% annually for 10 years to manage the fund for 10 years. The people aren't going to get their money back. If the widow comes here because the husband died, maybe she can try and sell the shares to another inside investor, but you can't do it without board approval of Sequoia or whoever. Okay. It's not easy. You're locked in for 10 years. And in that 10-year period, they expect a bunch of them to go out of business, even with tons of funding. They're going to expect some of them to get back the money. They're going to get some of them that are going to sell out and break even or just make a little bit. And if they're really lucky, they're going to have one out of the park home run that makes the whole fund. And that's how it works, folks. So these people that put in this money, they don't expect to even be able to trade it as a token. They're locked for 10 years. That's how it works. So about that 2 and 20, it's really 20 and 20 then, right? Because it's 2% per year for 10 years. That's 20%. So what we're going to do, and we're going to make this fully aware to the people, is in a venture fund, you guys would have gotten the other 80%. You're the startups. You're the ones we're investing in. We're going to make a Keiretsu of you as a fund so that you're all working together. Guess what? We're doing that. We're going to get you all to work together. And then we're going to fund each of you and make sure that you guys all have the best chance of success, right? That's what a fund does. Well, that's what we're doing. Instead of the 80%, that's going to be invested in your coins and locked for 10 years. That $1 billion can't be sold for 10 years. They can trade a token that represents it on T0, but they cannot touch the fund. They're locked for 10 years, that $1 billion. Okay. The 20% goes to you guys. That's 200 million divided by 15 of you. And that's the first shot. And it comes in and it'll be divided as we get it each month, probably starting, we're hoping January, we'll start raising after January 15th because of holidays. If someone smart, like a David Blumberg, might not be him. I just sent a text, right? But we're friends, okay? Friendly. And if he says yes, that first $100 million would break off 20 million of it. And you guys would each get about $1.25 million out of the gate to help you with what? Marketing, development, against a 51% attack, all of these things that we talk about. Adoption driven by utility because you need more, whatever. Getting on, the merge mining, are there costs? Getting on exchanges, are there costs? Legit expenses. Okay.
Lots.
Final thing then, guys, do math, okay? The next fund we're going to do is 5 million. The next one is 15. So the next round would be that we would ultimately be giving you guys not a split of 200 million, which would be about 13 million each, but we're going to do 5 times that. We're going to give you guys out of 5 billion, we're giving 1 billion to 15 of you, right? And then the next one's 3 times that. The returns are going to slow down from the first fund will be the best to this. And the way we're going to get to them is that Senator Hagedorn and Senator Fincham and I are going to go out and we're going to be meeting with current, if it's legally admissible, or rather legally okay in their state, or if it's restricted, they can't, or a former policymaker, which it will be. And then we want to talk to lobbyists and everything, and we want to know who are the money managers that manage regular people's money, not the uber-wealthy 1% family offices. They've got enough fucking money, okay? But we want to get this in, right? We want to get this in the hands of the boomers because they're going to leave it as inheritance to their kids. It's going to stay in their families, right? We hope. So that's the whole thing, guys, that I want you to understand as we've got 4 minutes left. Yeah, and that's it. I hope that you guys are fully funded.
Just wanted to quickly mention that definitely for Dash, I know about the other cryptocurrencies, but something that's very important and that would open a lot of doors for Dash is a New York bit license. And that's something that we've been trying to figure out how to get like funding and having connections to make that happen. I'm sure Joel can say more about it, but
and by the way, guys, it is top of the hour right now, and so it's 1903 because I fucked everything up, or we'd be at I think 2400 right now. But anyone that wants to stay later, I'm not leaving until it hits 2000. That could be 5 minutes or 20, but I'm not leaving. So tell us about the bit license. Anyone that knows that for New York.
Yeah, so it's definitely one of the more how the sausage is made kind of things, but it's one of the more annoying things to talk about too. But New York specifically has its own, I guess, regulatory framework for crypto. And basically, if any crypto you want to list in any of the 49 states, you kind of can. With New York, you have to get explicit permission for certain cryptos. There's a green list of like 7 or something like that. Beyond that, some company has to petition NYDFS and say, we want to support this crypto, and here we self-certify that it is fine to list, basically. And if the regulators approve it, then it's in. But it's also then if another company says, hey, we want to list that crypto too, then it's just in. You don't really have to have those barriers as much. And so that's been a big annoying thing, because when Dash came on the scene, that was right around the right before the peak privacy FUD, when anytime you had the P word, it would scare people off.
Yep.
Now, Zcash managed to get through because of connections with Gemini and et cetera like that. We've been trying to get in as well. There's a few companies we've been talking to that could kind of do this. Nothing's in stone yet, but working on it. And it's just so annoying because of this one state. First of all, so many of the larger crypto kind of payment processors, things like that, are all based out of New York. So they're like, well, in order to service our customers, we kind of need this. But also a lot of, especially in the payments realm, like payment processors don't really want to deal with this. Well, customers from 49 states are fine, because you might then have like someone from New York crossing over into Massachusetts and spending crypto there with one of these unapproved cryptos, and that could consider servicing a U.S. customer, a New York customer. So they just would rather not deal with that risk at all. So they're just like, nah, any of the one state ones are just gone. So we would like to not have that. So basically, I've been chasing up companies that would want to kind of help us get through here. We have a good legal opinion letter from a top blockchain law office about this. So
nice.
That's just
I have a question, and I'm so glad you said that, Joel, because actually I did have a question that I was supposed to ask during this forum, and I took it off my desktop, and so I forgot it. And that is, you guys are on Kraken, but Digibyte is not. And Digibyte has, they've done everything, Joel. They've done everything. They have a CEO. They have a real team. They've got everything. They've dotted the I's, crossed the T's. Did you guys get on there because it's just as simple as the New York bit license? Or what is it? What is keeping Digibyte from being listed at Kraken?
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
So as someone who doesn't work for Kraken, obviously I don't
I know,
really know.
I know, but Jesse's
I
badass
have
and
talked.
I love him, and why wouldn't he let OGs on? I don't get it.
I have talked to a few people in the Digibyte community about these kinds of listing questions as well. The reality is with centralized exchanges, it's an entirely like black box. And
Hmm.
so they're basically it's all about like money and revenue, right?
Yep.
If they think they
100%.
can get enough money and revenue, they're going to find a way to list it. If not, they won't. There's a couple of exceptions to that rule. What I found, again, this is just me from experience,
Yeah.
guessing on a lot of these things, right? But a couple of exceptions to that are, first of all, they will not list whatever asset if it's viewed as regulatorily spicy in some way.
Hmm.
And that's
Is
where when like Dash
DGB?
was
Let's answer the question then. Is DGB guys? Are you guys regulatorily spicy? Why would you be?
What
I
makes
would
you spicy?
say not at all.
What makes it spicy, Joel?
Well, for Dash, it was the talk about privacy that got a few coins to kind of take a step back for a while.
Privacy shouldn't be
And
spicy though.
yes, but my point is like this is before the regulations were a little bit clearer, and because Dash was a top 3 coin market cap at one point, and so when you're that far up, you should get everywhere. And some of the blockages to that were the spicy thing. So I don't think Digibyte has that at all. Then on the other side, there's the I would say I don't think Binance. I'm not sure if Binance is this way anymore, but Binance was sort of the king of the exchanges who
Yeah.
will list you even if
Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
make money for them if you pay them the money.
Yeah,
And
if
there's a
you get
lot
on
of like
Binance, you were
those
paying
kind of
them.
exchanges do that.
Yeah,
There's
they
Yeah,
a
they
wanted
couple
hit
that
us
do
every
it there.
single week.
they
There's a
wanted
couple.
300,000 just to list,
Yeah,
and a percentage of the
yeah,
supply
yeah,
for
yep. That is
for
100%
liquidity
true.
pool.
That's what
Can you,
Binance
I
is
keep
dealing
hearing
with.
supply. Can you guys tell me, do you have to? Because supply is something most coins don't have unless they have to go out and buy it. So if we were going to fund 15 coins, most of you guys are already on the right exchange, but let's
I
say we went
missed.
into a group and try to get 15. Do we also have to give them liquidity pools of our own coin?
Well, that's what it used to be. I don't know now. I do know that something I did miss was the alliance and the 501c3 through all 50 states with Digibyte. So therefore, taxable, contributions. You can get a tax write-off for donating to it, or also for your crypto capital gains. But mainly if you need to be in a different tax bracket, you can do a write-off in that manner, and that will then go to fund other things like because we don't have that 20% that Dash has, to fund innovation and other things. It does not exist.
Yeah. One thing I should point out on that thing, uh, block rewards come and go from wherever. And I noticed, like, so for example, the Bitcoin Cash community and the Monero community have found lots of funding from random like donation functions for a lot of things. And the real thing of like what people say, there's like VC funded coins. There's always money. It always comes from somewhere. And there is shockingly little, I would say, fully organic growth in the crypto world. So a lot of times, like,
Shockingly,
I
yeah.
know like I know for a fact that Monero works with PR firms to get favorable and influencers and stuff like that, even though there's no company, there's no
Yeah, because it's seen as the
block reward
black
fund,
sheep
but
of the space, essentially.
yes, but someone is finding money to pay for these kinds of things. And that is sort of a thing with like the Bitcoin world. I think that people kind of got spoiled with Bitcoin when they saw that everyone was like, Bitcoin started a movement. And so,
Yes,
a ton of people
100%.
were willing to do tons of work for just something that's like not paid. And
But the promise of value and the hope of privacy.
Yes, those are the two main things. Yeah.
It was almost like the nonprofit donation thing, in that even people who are in other cryptocurrencies were giving lots of lip service to Bitcoin, helping promote Bitcoin because they figured, if Bitcoin wins, then we all get into. So it got a lot of free rider kind of stuff. That
100%.
stuff is sort of simmering down now a little bit, and it's becoming a little bit more. But then you have a bunch of funds who are now involved with that and are kind of taking the torch. But anyway, all that to say about these like listings and stuff. So it's kind of that way as well. Like most exchanges want the biggest, if they don't anticipate making any money or very little money, they basically want their technical costs in some way covered as far as integration. And then they want to make sure there's enough liquidity so people can actually trade. And so that's where they want like a market maker or something like that.
Yeah, they want like
and
a
I had
percentage
to,
of the token. Yeah.
so I have to say that, but it's all very opaque. And a lot of times, the way things are going is like I'm finding these cross-chain DEX protocols are the way of the future.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
Thor chains, the Maya protocols, the chain flips, the near intents, etc. And that is a much more accessible, but not entirely different though, in terms of you still need someone to do the actual integration unless if the team thinks, oh, there's going to be a great amount of revenue for this, they're going to do the coding themselves. If not, maybe someone in the community has to do the coding, and then someone has to provide liquidity for these kinds of things. I mean, I think it's in near intents they call them solvers, but then in the other ones it just provide liquidity into these liquidity pools. And so you kind of you still need to like get all that together. So the Krakens and stuff of the world are harder because you can't see the target. The target's hidden from you, as far as the company won't tell you what transparently why they will and will not list an asset. So maybe
you don't
the
have a
best
big
way
enough
to go,
following, or you don't have a large enough amount of
Right,
liquidity
but we've
pool, or
done
you're not willing
we've
to give
done
up enough of your coin itself in order to get it listed.
right, but we've done different polls and different votes and all
Right.
of this kinds of stuff all over. You know, we've won different events even.
Have you put
But
up
yet-
money? Have you put up the money they want for just a listing? Because the thing that I know is that I could call Gehrman right now on Telegram. It's 4 o'clock in the morning in Dubai. He wouldn't be very happy. But 2 o'clock, whatever. But Gehrman's company is Coin Liquidity Solutions. And although I do not like that they do wash trading for these things, he is connected to literally everyone. And as far as I know, there's a price to everything. And if I can pay the price. And so again, it comes back to if we get the funding so we can go as a group to these exchanges and say, you've got 4 of the 15 or 8 of the 15 or whatever. We want the others. Give us a group price. What would you do the group? And by the way, our community, it's all the same community. We're growing all these communities and we're going to have 500 million users when we're done. You want them or not? How much? Now, of course, if we already had them, they would just give it to you. But if we can do that, I bet you we'd have a lot more strength in numbers. That's my opinion.
Mhm.
but yeah, to just
I
sort of
like it.
resolve that thing, there has to be some sort of a proposal on the table. And also it goes the other way too. Like everyone in the old school thinking is like, oh, if we get listed on these exchanges, things are gonna pop.
Yeah.
And
No.
maybe they do, maybe they don't. A lot of it's very strategic, as far as you want to say, we really have a lot of demand from this particular market segment, and they are served by this exchange, and they're just like, man, if only I could buy Digibyte on Kraken or whatever, then all our lives would be better.
Be a lot
But then
easier.
if you could waste a lot of money on it, a lot of effort on some integration that doesn't go anywhere.
Yes.
So like if you were like, okay, if I talk to Uphold, let's say, if we got on Uphold, we're going to get into their topper on ramp or whatever. We're going to integrate that into our wallet so that anyone can just be like, buy with a credit card for up to $2,500 with no KYC. Just get started right now. And we need this tool. That's when you would say, hey, let's make a deal. It'll be worth it for us. It won't just be, oh, that's nice to have. And then eventually, if you just get those numbers up, right? That's the thing, is there's no shortcuts in life. Yeah, if you get the price up and the trading volume up, it's like the self-fulfilling prophecy. But then all of a sudden, everyone's like, "Hey guys,
it's a rush to the door, then, man."
Right, but we're still seeing different things. Like when we do sort of a chain analysis on it and look at the different wallets held, but many different wallets by many different exchanges.
Yeah.
We're basically just seeing the left hand sell to the right hand,
because
it does not go on chain unless it's withdrawn from the exchange.
Exactly.
Omni, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, no, in a lot of different situations, it's exchanges trading with each other to try and close like short positions that they have with each other or other special financial vehicles through other intermediaries that they deal with. And that's what a lot of my analysis takes me through.
Yep.
You can watch a very detailed episode on it yesterday. Or
Yeah, so one of the things that we talked about yesterday, guys, is that, you can think of how do we do things, and you can think of carrots and sticks, and, you can think that if we set standards and say people have to stick to them, we all know they're not going to, and it doesn't matter to them. So the
Exactly.
only way people change is if they're losing. And the way that they lose is attrition of good customers that actually have the money. And the good people that actually have the money have gotten rugged so many times, they're sick of it. And if any of them do happen to venture back in, we have to give them this amazing experience. And so I'm super excited on Wednesday, and I could be wrong about this, but Yar with a Nintendo wallet seems to have something that will allow trading. I heard Zcash talk about something. I've heard all of you guys talk a little bit about it, and I'm kind of acting as a hub, but I hope that everybody watching today and everyone involved in this will support and share every single day's post so that we do, we're going to hit 2,000 here, even with my screw up, but I would like to hit 10,000. Because every one of the 15 communities is sending everyone here to learn. And they're going to learn and go back to their community and go, oh, did you see what we saw? There was something, I'm not a fan of Guy Kawasaki. I don't think he had anything to do with keeping Mac alive while Steve was gone. But that said, he did write a book called Rules for Revolutionaries. And one of the things was eat like a bird, poop like an elephant. And the idea is that a bird eats its body weight every day. I don't eat 180 pounds of food every day. That's a lot, but it eats its body weight. So you hear eat like a bird? No. They eat their body weight, right? But if you think of how an elephant would poop everywhere, right? So he's saying eat everything and spread it everywhere, right? Imagine if all of our communities come in here and get more and more involved in our own communities that we love the most. But we learn from the other communities and take it back to our communities. And then we all talk about how we can use these things together to set standards. Amazing. That it doesn't exist in crypto. And you're going to see people, as a result of that, head to Nintendo wallet or head to wherever it is that they are not going to get rugged. Exactly. And then the others are just going to lose all their good clients and go out of business.
Yeah, the sexes will lose money if everyone starts going to DeFi, guys. And then they have to sell their tokens at a loss in order to facilitate that price go up.
And one last thing, if you could, Omni, would you just tell about why we let Ethereum go? And I mean, encapsulate it. Don't take 20, because you could take an hour to tell it all.
Yeah.
Just encapsulate why we let them go and why their smart contracts actually hurt the market the way GameStop was hurt.
Master contracts agreements through ISDA and a bunch of different financial intermediaries at the top of a bunch of different financial systems operate with Ethereum and the smart contract system that it has. This is not a knock on smart contracts because they can be used for a lot of good. However, the way they're being abused by the Ethereum community is the problem.
Okay, so in a nutshell, guys, the Ethereum smart contract is used to create phantom shares or coins, rather, phantom coins, and then they can trade those down. And since those are viewed by a market like CoinMarketCap or whoever, they see that as a real trade and they count it as real volume. And so imagine this trick where I just go, I've got $50. I've got a Bitcoin in my hand, and I'm going to loan it to you so you can sell it into the market. Right. But I don't really have a Bitcoin, but I have a paper phantom Bitcoin on a smart contract that's being traded by the most powerful financial forces you can possibly imagine. That's who's doing this.
Yeah.
And they destroyed the market in 2021. If you look at Vertcoin and all of these, look at the date and everything just keeps dropping like a knife.
Yeah,
no.
What is the chance you think of that happening just normally and organically?
Zero.
That was the expensive
No,
ICO.
it's zero.
The ICO and Treasury.
Yeah, it's
zero.
Literally zero. Someone or something, whatever it is somehow dropping your token's value, to my understanding of the way that chart looks. Because it's very similar to almost every other highly manipulated coin when you start to look at those charts.
Yep.
I'd like to look at the 17 too, Omni, if you ever get a chance, because I believe that maybe there was a rug pulled then because everything was just growing too fast for them to control.
17th of what? What year?
It's
What day?
2017. 2017.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could.
yeah.
Yeah, no, there was some weird shit going
Think
on.
about it. All of a sudden, all these things were taking off, and there was going to be no stopping them. And so they fucking stopped them with smart contracts. And it happened in 2017, right when smart contracts came out. Smart contracts, by the way, were patented by Nick Szabo well before Vitalik started Ethereum.
Yeah, they started in 90 something smart contracts. They've been doing smart contract work since the early 90s.
Yeah, Nick also did BitGold just months or days or whatever before Bitcoin, and BitGold was essentially him saying, "Can anybody want to code this up?" And then it was a one pager, and then
True.
I think he's part of it. Okay, we're at 1997. I think we're about to close this down, guys, because we're going to hit our 2. Thank you all for the guests. We've actually now truly been here for 3 hours because I rugged us the first one, and then I kept sharing the wrong link, and then I had to unshare it. And thank God for Omni taking this overnight. And we're going to party like it's 1999. Here we go.
Hopefully.
Here we go. Who's going to be our 2000s caller?
Hey, John. I just want to say that your hat is okay. It's a nice hat, but if you want a better hat, Eric on the screen in the plaid shirt has some Dash swag that has a Dash hat just like yours, but with the Dash logo.
Let me just say that I accept swag, and I will wear anyone's swag. There you go, Joel. If anybody wants to sell me swag, but what I will do is, this is my promise to you guys. When the store is open, the first thing we're selling is T-shirts. And I promise you, the very first day, I'm going to be wearing a shirt and a hat. No, we're not going to do hats right away. We're going to do shirts right away only, because just keep it simple, right, to start. And it's going to have all 15 coins, and it's going to say something stupid like "United we stand with diamond hands," or something like that. But then I promise that every single day I will wear someone else's shirt. Okay? You don't have to buy them for me. All right, 2005 of you, thank you for joining us today for 3 amazing hours of great education. We learned about Vertcoin today, which I love. I absolutely love it now. And our community, Digital Gold Foundation, the community of the Digital Gold Foundation, all of you, we're all going to embrace them. I want you to go check out Vertcoin. I just want you to check them out. Just read the history on it. See where you might be able to buy the coin. I don't own any of the coin. I don't own any of the coins that are here. I'm going to own the fund. I'm going to make the 20% on the back end with all my friends. And if we can get 21 billion to go up like just 3 to 10x, I'm thinking 10 because you guys are so underpriced, then my investors, these boomers and Gen Xers, are going to end up making like, I don't know, it's going to go like 21 billion to 21 billion means we get like 4.2 billion. That's my cut for me and my team. My team might have 200 people on it because, we're going to spread the love around. But just know that I'm not pumping or hyping any coins here because, first of all, the fund doesn't open until January. Second of all, I don't own any of your coins. But everybody out there, I don't want you guys to buy my fund. That's for these guys. I've got them pegged. I want you guys to buy them at home, and I want you to buy them with a native wallet. And I would love it if you're running native wallets for all 15 coins.
Absolutely.
And I want you to download all of their apps. And I want you to start going to these meetings so we can share with each other all the cool things that we do, so we can all go check those things out and spread the love. And very quickly, guys, we're going to grow this Digital Gold Talk to 100,000 people. We're doing, by the way, guys, because of all you sharing, we're doing, Digibyte has the new record. They went out on Friday, and within going into their 3rd day, they hit 5,500 views. All organic. We don't promote. We don't boost. We don't do anything. There's no robots. I have 700, 800, 900 followers now or something. It's nothing. It's growing. But where am I getting? We did 30,000 views like in the last 10 days. Where'd they come from? And they're getting bigger. It's because of you guys. So this is yours. It's not mine. It's Digital Gold Talk belongs to you guys. If something happens to me, someone's going to take this over. Maybe it's Omni. Someone is going to keep it going, all of you. And we're going to grow this to 100,000. Then we're going to grow it to 1 million, then 10 million. We ultimately want 500 million people owning all 15 of these coins, and all of them spending them anywhere they want. So they're self-custodying, they're part of the network, they're involved. And then when they want to go spend, they just go to the store and go click, and it comes out of their wallet and does whatever it needs to do. I love you guys. Please tune in tomorrow. We're going to have a good show. Tomorrow we're looking at Bitcoin Cash, and we're looking at another one that's really interesting. That's EGLD. the metaverse. I want you guys to check it out. And they've got multiverse. Sorry, they've got a massive community, and Omni is a part of it. Massive, and we welcome you guys. And the Bitcoin Cash guys were here last week. We're going to give you more love. We're going to bring more people, and you guys bring more Bitcoin Cashers. And there's a Bitcoin Cash podcast, buddy. Come on in. We're family here. I'm not a competitor to you. Please come in, please. And Blackcoin, I want you guys to know that I'm going to be the face of Blackcoin for a little while, because they just don't have that organization. And yet Digibyte it was called Darkcoin, but became Digital Cash Dash, and Blackcoin all came out within 2 months of each other in 2014, January and February, right in there, the Genesis block. And proof of stake hadn't been invented yet. They were the first ones to do it. And Purecoins on Friday was Zcash and Monero. And I believe Pure Chemist and his group actually came up with the concept. So we're going to have the OGs, and we've got Vertcoin now. Wednesday, Bell's Coin, Dogecoin, and Litecoin. Thursday, Ripple, Stellar, Lumens, and Cardano. I want you guys to attend everyone and share them. And I just want to give a shout out to every one of these speakers. You guys blew my mind today. You're so freaking amazing, and you were so patient with me. Stay backstage for a minute. Everybody else, we'll check you guys tomorrow. We'll see you. And now it's going to wind out, and